How about his young lefty?
When he's on top of his game, he's got as good an exploding type fastball that you can have. And then he's of course, he added the changeup last year when he became a starter, and now we're trying to add a curveball to become more of a weapon. When he's right, the fastball explodes. The problem he has had a little bit of this year is not the fastball, but his changeup floating over the heart of the plate.
What that really tells you about Mercker is that he is a power pitcher, a fastball pitcher, and if he gets in trouble, that's usually what he goes to. And then when he tries a changeup or something, he has not been able to throw it for strikes. So we'll have to watch that for that tonight, see how he pitches from behind if he ever gets behind any hitters.
So Mercker, who pitched a very strong ball game here Tuesday against the Los Angeles Dodgers, and what a series that was. The Dodgers were here for 3 games, and every game was decided in the Braves' final at bat. They had 2 sudden death victories in that series against the Dodgers, including the night that Hideo Nomo took them out here. And they also won another ball game in the last of the 8th in their final at bat. But then against the Giants in the first 2 games of the series, they started hitting, and they have roughed up the Giants in the first 2 games of this series. There's Mercker, and Joe, who's he got behind him?
Well, he's got a good cast behind him, but I think the key player here is Chipper Jones at third base. He was a shortstop in the minor leagues, and they moved him over to third base, and he's shown the power that you need to be a good third baseman. There's a look at Chipper. He also leads the team in home runs and runs batted in, so he is doing a great job for a rookie.
Leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, although he himself says that he thinks Hideo Nomo might be the leading candidate. Friday, the Braves pounded the Giants 8-4. Tom Glavine won the ball game, and Glavine drove in 2 runs with 2 hits in that game. Then Saturday, it was 9-4 for the Braves. Steve Avery, the winner, and Avery hit a 2-run homer in that ball game. So Braves pitchers have driven in 4 runs in the first 2 games of this series. Justice also a home run last night. Here is Darren Lewis to lead it off for San Francisco. Lewis is hitting .251, no homers, 15 driven in. He leads the team with 17 steals. Jones plays him shallow at third. First pitch and a fastball from Mercker, too high for ball 1. So we're underway in Atlanta. Final game before the All-Star break. And it's a called strike 1-1. I'm getting kind of keyed up for the All-Star game. Looks like it should be a real interesting ball game, and some different developments have been taking place in terms of players getting hurt. Mark McGuire had to be scratched from the All-Star game today. He was involved in what turned out to be a beanball war in Oakland yesterday with Toronto. He got beaned and has suffered a mild concussion. You're looking there at Braves pitcher Greg Maddux, who also scratched himself from the All-Star game. Greg McGriff. And he takes it to the bag, so there is 1 away. Darren Lewis retired. Maddux has a little bit of a groin muscle injury, so he felt that it was better for the team if he rested and got fully healthy for the second half, and I think his teammates appreciate that attitude, Joe.
Well, he said he would love to pitch in the All-Star game, but the second half of the season is more important, and the World Series is more important for his teammates. So he did scratch himself.
He also paid Hideo Nomo a big compliment. He said, I think the people around the country would rather see Nomo anyway. He's much more exciting than I am. Here's Robbie Thompson. Nice ball for a strike.
I don't know if anyone's more exciting than Greg Maddux when he's on the mound, but I agree with him that Nomo has a little flair about him.
It's kind of captured the imagination of baseball fans everywhere. And that's a called strike. 2 strikes to count to Robbie Thompson, hitting only .206.
And I think therein lies a real key to the Giants' lack of run production so far this season, and a lot of pressure falling on Bonds. Darren Lewis just started to hit the last 2 weeks in getting on base, and Robbie Thompson has not started at all this season, so no one's really on base a lot of times when Bonds comes to the plate.
Just missing inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Barry Bonds is on deck. He'll come up next.
Some interesting things going on in the Bay Area about Barry Bonds. I'll try to enlighten you on later on during the telecast.
Strike 3 called. So Mercker strikes out Thompson, out number 2, and then Bonds will make his first appearance.
And that's what I'm talking about with Mercker. He is a power pitcher. Fastball over the outside corner for strike 3. And Robbie Thompson does not like the call. But he becomes the first strikeout victim for Mercker. If the pattern continues, they will try to bust Bonds inside. Most teams have tried to pitch him inside with power pitchers.
Barry Bonds, first ball swinging. They have 3 infielders on the right side. Belliard, the second baseman, picks it up, throws him out, and just like that, the Giants are retired. The Braves are coming up against Terry Mulholland when we get back. John Miller and Joe Morgan back here in Atlanta. No score after a half inning. The National League East right now belonging to the Atlanta Braves, and Philadelphia lost again today. The Cubs beat them 7-6. The Phillies have lost 11 of 13, and Atlanta has gotten red hot at the same time. Bobby Cox has the Braves on a roll, and they'll go into the All-Star break for only the 4th time in their history in first place. Marquise Grissom leads off for Atlanta center field. Jeff Blauser is at shortstop. Chipper Jones, the fine rookie, is at third base, very powerful. Fred McGriff at first base, heading for the All-Star game. Dave Justice in right field. Javier Lopez is the catcher. Mike Kelly in left field batting 7th. Rafael Belliard is at second base, and the pitcher is Kent Mercker. And on the mound for the Giants, just back from the disabled list, we saw his first start back last Tuesday, Joe, in Cincinnati. It's Terry Mulholland.
Well, Terry threw the ball pretty well last week, especially after coming off the disabled list. But you see his numbers, 80 base hits in only 51 2/3 inning. You're giving up a lot of base runners there when you do that. And we talked about the fact that he had an operation about 5 weeks ago on his elbow. He removed 5 bone chips from his left elbow. And now he feels like he's throwing much harder than he did before he went on the disabled list.
Well, our Jugs gun clocked that fastball at 91 miles an hour. The high fastball for strike 1 to Marquise Grissom, former Montreal Expo, hitting .284 for the Braves. 6 homers. And it took him a long time to get up to .284. He really was having a terrible time getting going with his new ball club after the trade. Jeff Blauser and Chipper Jones will follow. See Marquise Grissom, 368 the last 30 games after the terrible start. Tried to curve him and missed with it. 2-1.
I think it's important for Mulholland to stay out in front of these Braves hitters. That way he can keep them off balance, but he has to turn the fastball over, run some in, and then change speeds.
Deep into center field, Darren Lewis going back. He's under it now. And in front of the wall, he makes the catch. Well, he only hit it 400 feet. That's not far enough in this ballpark.
Let's take a look at the Giants defensively. We talked about the fact they missed Matt Williams' bat. They also missed his glove. So Mike Benjamin and Steve Scarsoni have been alternating over there at third base. Benjamin, of course, set a major league record with his 14 hits in 3 games. He is a good fielder, not necessarily a good hitter.
Jeff Blauser, check swing foul. And it is 0-1. Blauser has been somewhat of a puzzle with the bat, hitting only .229. Just a couple of years ago, he was up over 300 and was doing it all at shortstop.
And the real problem, John, is he's not making contact. He has been striking out too often.
Oh, it took a bad hop, but Benjamin stayed with it, and he throws him out.
They have a good view of that third baseline, and I tell you what, the ball bounced back towards shortstop. Looked like a routine ground ball to Benjamin, but it bounced towards shortstop. But as I said, he's a very good fielder, not a good hitter normally, but a very good fielder. Now watch, on this hop, it goes back to his left, and you see the play he makes. Good hands by Benjamin as he throws Blauser out at first base.
Well, that was a good look in slow motion at that play. I think big league players often make plays like that on bad hops that go unnoticed. And they make it look so smooth that you get kind of jaded to how quick and how good they really are. 2 down, Chipper Jones. Mulholland bringing it in there a little harder, I think, than what we saw him on Tuesday night in Cincinnati.
Well, he's probably going to get better each time out, John, feel a little stronger. And he was still feeling his way through on Tuesday. I think he feels comfortable now that he's back.
2-1 to count to Chipper Jones. Now, Chipper Jones hitting only .245, but he leads the team with 13 homers and 47 batted in. And despite the low average, he has walked 45 times. So lot of teams have been loath to throw him strikes. Fred McGriff is on deck. Nice pickup, but then it's dropped by Clayton and no play. So McGriff will get a shot.
When Royce Clayton first came to the big leagues, he had trouble defensively. He hit a little bit the first part of his rookie season, but he did not play good defense. Now he's become an excellent defensive shortstop, and he doesn't hit quite as well as he thought he would, but excellent play there. The ball rolls out when his glove hits the ground, but he has played excellent defense for the Giants the last couple of years.
Fred McGriff coming up. In this game, as Jones gets his lead from first base, Carreon on the bag with him. Fred McGriff has been one of the steadiest, most destructive power hitters in the game, year in and year out. But he's kind of off to a slow start this year. That's going to be a base hit. Robbie Thompson couldn't get it. Jones will go to third. And now David Justice will come up with a chance to do some big damage early.
John, you would think that the Braves with Justice and McGriff and Chipper Jones, when he hits left-handed, would be vulnerable to left-handed pitching. McGriff and Justice handle left-handed pitchers very well, and they still hit with power against left-handed pitching. So you don't really lose a lot or gain a lot if you're the opposition by pitching left-handers against the Braves. The only thing you do is you get Klesko out of the lineup.
And that's not bad.
Yeah, that's a positive if you're an opposing team.
Well, Klesko will tell you that he shouldn't be out of the lineup, even with the lefty going. He wants to be in there every day. David Justice. Curveball. Ball one. Klesko, by the way, when you put him on the bench, there's Ryan Klesko in the dugout. That's a .352 average, playing mostly against right-handers with 8 home runs and only 128 at-bats. So that's a pretty big difference when he's not in there.
The one thing I've noticed about Dave Justice over the last few years, each year he seems to get a little more patient at the plate, in that he does not chase pitches just off the plate as that pitch was there. He usually makes sure he gets a good pitch to hit now. When he was a rookie, he was a lot more aggressive, throwing a lot more bad pitches.
That's a strike. 2-1. Well, going along with what you say there, Joe, he's got a .280 average, but a .412 on-base average. So he's getting a lot of walks.
Far more patient than he was as a rookie.
First and third, 2 down. 2-1 the count. Mulholland needs a big pitch. 3-1. Man on deck, Lopez is a right-handed hitter. There's Lopez waiting his turn, hoping to bat. He's in the on-deck circle. Chipper Jones at third, Fred McGriff at first. No score in the game. And it's a walk. And the bases are loaded for Javi Lopez. And Dusty Baker, who's seen things get away from the Giants the last couple of nights. Last night early on, the Braves had 7 runs in the first 3 innings last night.
Some pitching coaches, John, will say that that's not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could have happened if he would have grooved a fastball and Justice hit a 3-run homer. So the point is, sometimes you have to give in by not giving in. Go ahead and try to make the great pitch, and if you miss with it, you walk the runner and you just have another runner on base.
And there are a lot of them out there now on base. Chipper Jones at third, Fred McGriff at second, and Dave Justice over at first, all ready to go in anything. 2 down, no score. Javi Lopez stands in. Curveball, a strike.
And that's a good pitch there, John. I was going to say he's really giving himself a small margin for error now, though. When you walk the bases loaded, you really shorten your margin for error. You just cannot make any more mistakes or fall behind the hitter.
Javi Lopez, the young Braves catcher, hitting well. And that breaking ball misses. Lopez comes in at .281. He's got 7 home runs and 171 at-bats. They like him as a receiver. Bases loaded. 2 down. First inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oh, and he lost the bat, and it goes helicoptering up into the seats.
That went way up in the seats. I don't think I've ever seen a bat travel that far in the air. I mean, there's a lot of distance between home plate and the dugouts and the stands, and you see this goes over the second seating section. That's as far as I've ever seen a bat thrown. It means you had a lot of bat speed, John.
Well, you know, next summer, just a little over a year from now, they're going to have the Olympic Games here, Joe. Maybe they'll make that an Olympic event here.
Yeah, hammer throw or something.
We'll actually find out who the world record holder would be in that event.
I thought you were going to say something like maybe they should put that in the skills competition at the All-Star game next year.
You're going to be there tomorrow night.
Yeah, maybe even better, it'll fit in the extreme games. Probably better than anything else.
Well, the guy who caught that bat and then jumped up and raised his arms, for me, he's in the extreme games already.
Okay.
In fact, he probably was in the extreme game. Bases loaded. 1-2 the count. Strike 3 call to the inside corner. And Mulholland gets out of the jam. 3 men left for Atlanta. Glenallen Hill, Mark Carreon, and Royce Clayton coming up with the Giants. No score.
$2 million a month for the names of every undercover agent in the world.
The threat
You are way out of your league.
is everywhere.
Way out.
The danger is real. And the action never stops.
These people are killers.
Paramount Pictures presents
You leave the cop stuff to me.
Stage 1 is complete. Right on schedule.
The schedule's gonna change.
Wesley Snipes,
You're dismissed.
Drop Zone, rated R.
On First Run, Garden State Cable's pay-per-view service.
It's time again for the test of the best, and ESPN's got the field covered for all the All-Star action. Catch the pregame festivities on All-Star Monday, starting with the Legends of the Game All-Star Classic at 7:30, the Home Run Derby at 9, and Major League Baseball's All-Star Gala at 10:30. ESPN's coverage continues Tuesday, beginning with an All-Star edition of SportsCenter at 6:30, all on ESPN.
So don't forget that tomorrow is All-Star Monday on ESPN. 7:30 again, the Legends of the Game All-Star Classic. 9 o'clock, Home Run Derby. Mondesi, Sosa, Gant, and Sanders. Thomas, Vaughn, and Ramirez for the American League. And somebody to replace McGuire had to be scratched. First ball swinging, Glenallen Hill pops it up, and McGriff makes the catch. And on one pitch, Kent Mercker has retired a Giant here in the second in Atlanta. No score in the game as we start the second inning.
You know who gets my vote to replace Fielder? No, I'm sorry, to replace McGuire.
Don't tell me.
Okay, all right, I guess
Cecil Fielder?
Yeah.
I guess I could just read your mind.
Yeah, you can. You're right. I think that would be a good addition to the home run hitting contest.
You know, this guy, how can you have a home run contest in Major Leaguers without the guy who's led the planet in home runs for the last 5 years?
Awesome.
He's averaged more than 40 homers a year for 5 years. He's the guy I want to see in the home run contest. The batter, Mark Carreon, hitting .269, 7 home runs. Mercker gets that outside edge for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. But, you know, Jack Lang, longtime veteran baseball writer, he wrote something this week that I agree with. He said the original concept of the All-Star game back in 1933 was to show off the established stars of the game that the fans wanted to see. Why wouldn't you have Fielder and Eddie Murray and guys like that in the All-Star game?
I guess that's a good question, John. Because how do people vote now? Do they vote on the player that's having the best season, or do they vote for the people that they want to see? I guess that's a very good question.
But of course, the voting is only 8 out of the 28 players. Chipper Jones and McGriff can't handle it.
Good hustle there by Carreon. He just rounded first and just kept going. Did not even look back.
Yeah, usually that guy will overrun the bag and go down the right field line.
Yeah, good play, good base running play there.
Should McGriff have come off the bag to take that throw, Joe?
He thought he had it. He was going to be able to catch it and retire the runner. Watch, it's very close. It comes off the end of his bat. Good play here by Chipper. It's just so deep. Now here's the long throw. Now watch. See, the throw actually beats him. It's just inside the bag. And I think McGriff thought he was going to be able to come up with it. This is a tough error as far as I'm concerned. But watch McGriff. See, thinks that he's going to get it. He actually hits off the edge of his glove. But you're right. Maybe he should have come off.
And they're going to score it. An infield hit and then an error for allowing him to go second.
Okay. I like that score.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I thought it was an error all the way. It should be a hit and an error.
Royce Clayton, the hitter. Strike 1 the count. Clayton hitting .253, 3 home runs, and 38 runs batted in. Pretty good first half for him. There's Carreon. A base hit could be a run here. The outfield straight away. No score in the game. Outside for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. But going back to that theme about the All-Star game, Joe, in that first All-Star game, 1933,
right.
Babe Ruth was almost at the end of his career. And but there was no question that the Babe was going to be there.
Can't have an All-Star game without the Babe.
That's right. And yet now we can have them All-Star games without Cecil Fielder or Eddie Murray, who just got 3,000 hit. And the question is, why do we? What's the point of the game? That's a called strike, and it's 1-2. In that first All-Star game, to manage the National League All-Stars, they brought John McGraw back from retirement because they thought the fans would get a kick out of seeing the legendary McGraw in the All-Star game. So that was the whole theme of that game, the whole point of that game.
If I remember our history right, Babe Ruth did a home run.
He did?
Yeah. So they got what they came to see.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Clayton. Carreon at second. And he fights this one off, foul it back out of play. 1-2. We're talking about the All-Star game. And we have the list of the starters for the American League. Frank Thomas, Baerga, Ripken, and Boggs on the infield. Griffey, of course, will not be able to play. He's still hurt. Kirby Puckett, Albert Bell, Ivan Rodriguez.
Pretty good All-Star team there, isn't it?
Yeah. Couldn't have a whole lot of argument about those players unless you're in the Alomar family. Fly ball to left. Coming in with the ball is Kelly, and he makes the catch, and Clayton is out number 2. Carreon back to second. Roberto Alomar did not make it at second.
As a starter.
As Baerga beat him out. In the National League, Fred McGriff of the Braves, Biggio of the Astros. Ozzie is hurt. Matt Williams is hurt. And the outfield, Barry Bonds, Lenny Dykstra, and Tony Gwynn. Dykstra is the one guy, though. I mean, he's not having a very good year.
I was going to say, I think we can argue some of the selections on the National League if you want to be honest about it. I think, because first of all, I think Eric Carroll should have been elected to that team, and Larry Walker as well, and Shawn Dunston.
Yeah.
I like those 3 players. I mean, not that the ones who are on there do not deserve it. They're good All-Stars as well, but I think that Carroll, Walker, and Dunston have had excellent seasons.
Yeah. So but, you know, it's hard to argue with the fans voting.
Right.
The fans, that you're going to have to take what you're going to get.
Well, we go back to the theory you said. They vote for who they want to see.
That's right.
I'm going to catch this one, John.
Okay, Joe.
I tried. That's the first time I've tried. You know, normally I let you handle that.
Okay, go. Get it. Here it comes. Yeah. So, instant replay.
I think the fans get a bigger kick out of it than I did.
Beautiful. If you'd caught it, you would have got a standing ovation. It would have been one of the great moments of Sunday Night Baseball. Man wearing the hitter. Slider misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Carreon at second. And 2 down. But what I argue with in the All-Star selection is the so-called managerial selections. You know, there's 20 players that the managers pick after the fans vote for the starters. And I think maybe the whole methodology of having only 28 players and having to have 1 from every team when you've got 14-team leagues, you know, hurts the quality of the game.
Well, they have not added more spaces since they've added more teams, and they're getting ready to expand again. So I think you almost have to expand the rosters if you're going to keep that rule in effect.
Now, when I'm
not saying I dislike that rule, though, John. I have to be fair there, because you would hate to have an All-Star game in the hometown of a team that didn't have a representative from their team.
Yeah. 2-2. Little fly ball, shallow center. Grissom was shallow to begin with, and he's got it. 1 man left, no score. The Braves coming up in the last of the second from Atlanta. We'll be back. John Miller and Joe Morgan with our All-Star Game smiles. Now, the other thing in the All-Star Game, Joe, is the game itself. Let's play the All-Star Game as a game. We tune in to watch these big All-Stars, the Barry Bondses and the great sluggers who are in there. Why do they get taken out in the 5th and 6th innings? This idea that you have to get everybody in, I don't buy it.
Well, I think the game should be played to be won by both leagues. And if you do that, you're going to play your best players, and usually the best players are the ones that start. And the one other thing about the All-Star game, baseball is really the only true all-star game. By that I mean everything else is really kind of an exhibition in that the players do not have time to learn to play together, you know, as in basketball, football, so forth.
Yeah.
Baseball is an individual sport with a team concept, so you have the chance to play the game just like you would a regular game.
Here's Kelly leading it off for Atlanta against Terry Mulholland. No score, last of the second. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Kelly hitting only .211, 3 homers, 16 driven in. And of course, he only plays basically against the left-hander, so he gets in there a couple of times a week. And the pitch misses. 2-1 the count. He'll be followed by Belliard and then Mercker against Mulholland in the second. You see Kelly's a little bit better against the lefties, but not real well either way. We saw him last year in September when we did the International League Championship Series on ESPN. Benjamin throws him out, and there's 1 away. But, you know, when you played, Joe, you played the distance more than once, didn't you, in the All-Star game?
Well, I was lucky because I played till the 11th inning here in Atlanta, and I got the game-winning hit in the ball game here in Atlanta. After I was already 0 for 3, I got a chance to bat my 4th time up to drive in the winning run. So I really enjoyed playing the entire game.
One out. Here's Rafael Belliard, right-handed hitter. Belliard. We figure he probably won't hit a home run. He hasn't hit one in 8 years. He goes up there to hack. 1 strike to count. But the point is, I mean, you played. Willie Mays often played
the entire game.
The entire game.
I think the regulars or your best players should play until the game is decided.
Now, I don't.
My opinion.
I don't blame the managers.
Right.
Because I believe they're in a tight spot. They want to be fair to all the players, get everybody in the game. It's certainly got to be disappointed if you go and you don't get to play.
That's true.
So who I blame is leadership in baseball. The people in charge.
I'm not touching that one.
Because they should be the people who look at this as being baseball showcase, who tell the managers, here's what we need. Strike 3. 2 men are gone. By the way, time and update with Gary Miller.
John, just as Belliard goes down on strikes, tonight's K-Factor, Hideo Nomo, the all-star who could get the start, has 119, a couple of Braves in the top 5, and Randy Johnson dominating all. In fact, it could be Nomo and Johnson starting in the all-star game as you look at tonight's K-Factor. Back to you.
Domo arigato gozaimasu, Miller-san. Watashi wa Atlanta Stadium ni orimasu. High fly ball by Mercker, left center. Lewis, he's got it. And we've played 2 full innings in Atlanta, scorelessly. Benjamin, Mulholland, and Lewis will be coming up. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And we're looking just out behind Atlanta Stadium at the new Olympic Stadium that's being built here, which, of course, in 1997 will become the new home of the Atlanta Braves. You're looking in from what would be the left field line and the press box area behind home plate. It looks like it should be a beauty. And it will seat, I guess, about 80,000 for the Olympic Games. And then they'll be able to take out a lot of the outfield seats and make it a 47,000 seat for baseball. It's a 47,000 seat stadium. Benjamin, the hitter, ball 2. Now, here's the looking down the right field line from the upper deck here in Atlanta Stadium. And then you look right out, and that's where the new ballpark is being built. Looks like home plate would be facing the same way as in this ballpark. And I guess the ball would be jumping just as much in that ballpark as it does here.
I was going to wonder if it's going to be launching pad 2 they're putting over there.
I hope so. Why should they have all the fun in Denver?
And Cleveland.
2-1 the count. And Jones gets his man. Benjamin retired, 1 away. No score. 3rd inning from Atlanta.
John, this is a difficult infield to play. Anytime you have to back up on a ball here, it's tough because you don't know what the next hop is going to be. So, you know, we'll watch this throughout the game, but you'll see some funny hops on this infield. It has never been a real good big league infield. So that ball there kind of jumped at him, didn't bounce up as high as he thought it was, but he was prepared for it because he's probably seen it before.
Mulholland, the hitter, strike 1. Now, funny hops. You know, I haven't seen one guy out there laugh over a hop yet. Not in all the years we've been coming here. funny to you, maybe.
I was going to say, I laughed at one that bounced up and hit Pete Rose one day.
Yeah,
He didn't think it was funny, but I did.
He didn't laugh. Okay. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mulholland. Mulholland 0 for 16 this year. Next ball, a strike. 1 ball to 2 strikes. The Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's hard to find a weakness in this ball club. It's a swinging strike 3. Mercker made short work with Mulholland. 2 men down. I mean, Cox has got the great pitching every day of the week. And his bullpen, Mark Wohlers, has really started to blossom, hasn't he?
Well, they've started to play exceptionally well. In the past, usually they'd start off hitting the ball well, and their pitching may be slow to come around. Or they would start off pitching well, and their hitting was slow to come around. Now, I think they're just about working on all cylinders. That's John Sherholtz. He's the architect of this Atlanta Braves ball club.
And Stan Kasten, the president of the ball club, sitting alongside John. 2 down, nobody on. The batter, Darren Lewis. He grounded to first his first time. A strike, and it's 0-1. Now, this is a different Kent Mercker, isn't it? I mean, I'm used to seeing Mercker go 3-1, 2-0, and he's throwing strikes.
Well, I think a little of that has to do with the fact that he is a starter now. He knows when he's going to pitch, and he can keep his rhythm. He works in between starts to get his rhythm, and it goes back to something we've talked about at the beginning of the season. The more a pitcher throws, the better his control is. And the Atlanta Braves pitchers throw in between starts, and they're always throwing the baseball, so they should have the control, if that theory works, and I believe in it. Leo Mazzoni, that's him right there. He's the pitching coach.
Perpetual motion machine.
Yeah.
1-2 the count to Darren Lewis. Bobby Thompson would be the 2 down, nobody on. 3rd inning, no score. Too high, 2-2. Well, that's the 37th pitch thrown by Mercker, and 24 of them have been strikes. Right to Jeff Blauser. And the Giants are retired. 1-2-3. Top of the order coming for Atlanta. Grissom, Blauser, and Chipper Jones. When we come back, no score. Hey, a nice bit of artwork there, guys. Hey, guys, sweep the Giants. Sounds like a couple of young Braves fans to me. Top of the order for Atlanta. Last of the 3rd. No score. Mulholland facing Marquise Grissom. And that is going to go through. Base hit.
This is the 2nd time through the order for Mulholland, and this is where he has to make changes in the way that he pitched hitters the first time up. He tried to get out in front of most hitters by throwing the fastball. I think you'll see if he does that this time around, you'll see guys jumping on that first pitch as Grissom did there. You're going to have to throw in a few more curveballs for first pitches or change your pattern. You can't stay with the same pattern.
Jeff Blauser grounded to 3rd his first time.
This is a good matchup here, John. There's a quick release over there by Mulholland, who has one of the best moves in the business. And, of course, Marquise Grissom, who will be trying to get a jump and steal a base. So, good matchup here between pitcher and the base runner. There you see how quickly Mulholland delivers the ball to the plate, but he gets the ball to first base just as quickly. So it's a very difficult situation for a base runner to read him and run on him. You almost have to guess, and if you do that, you can get picked off very easily.
There he goes, and Blauser swung at it.
I think that was a hit and run, John, because he did not have a good jump. Mulholland did not allow him to get a good jump from first base there. I think that was more of a hit and run situation for the Braves. And that's presented another problem for the Braves because Blauser strikes out too much. And to be a number 2 hitter, he has been striking out quite often. And so they're trying to get him to keep his eyes on the ball by putting the runner in motion. You have to concentrate a little harder on putting the ball in play.
1 ball, 1 strike. There he goes. The ball is swung on again and hit high and foul. Chasing it is Carreon. He won't be able to get there. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. You mentioned the strikeouts for Blauser. He has only one less strikeout for this season than he had all of last season. He's done well against Mulholland, but I mean, in the past, he was doing well against a lot of people. 2 years ago, he hit .305.
Well, you mentioned that earlier, that, you know, it's a mystery. He has been a good hitter, but all of a sudden, he's having trouble hitting.
He went through the worst slump of his career and is having a hard time shaking out of it. There's that snap throw to first, stepping off the slab.
From a base runner's perspective, that is a very tough play there, because you try to get as big a lead as you can at first base to give yourself time to read the pitcher going to the plate, and Mulholland will not allow you to get way off because that move is very quick to first base.
That's a foul.
From a base running perspective, you always like to get as big a lead as you possibly can on left-handers, because everything is right in front of you, so it's easier to read them. And you can watch them, and then you're already out there, so it should be easier to steal a base. But in Mulholland's case, he does not let you get a big lead because of that quick pickoff throw. So it makes it more difficult to steal.
Price steps off the slab. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, have you seen anything at all that would indicate that Grissom is likely to try and steal against this guy?
Well, he's run the last 2 pitches, but I think it's a hit and run because he broke late each time. So I don't think Grissom can read him.
Yeah, but that's a good point, though. Why would Bobby Cox put on a hit and run when you got a guy who could just steal second?
Right.
I mean, he must not feel he's got a shot to do it.
And everyone knows, you know, that Mulholland has some good moves, so it is difficult. You're right. That's why they use the hit and run.
Check swing and another foul. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jeff Blauser. Chipper Jones is on deck. To Blauser, you get into a lot of power. Jones, McGriff, Justice, Lopez. And if there was a right-handed pitching, you'd have Klesko added to that mix. The Braves have hit 81 home runs this year in 68 games, even though some of their best sluggers have either been injured or not hitting home runs. Down on strikes goes Blauser.
And you can see there, John, Grissom at first base had no clue on what to do there off of Mulholland. In fact, he was leaning back a little bit on that pitch. So Mulholland does have him confused at first base. See there, he's just very quick to the plate. Do not have a lot of time. Good high fastball, up and in. And watch him. See there, he's going back. See him? He could not read Mulholland very well on that particular pitch.
Breaking ball misses to Chipper Jones. It is 1 ball and no strikes. 1 out. Grissom at first. Chipper Jones missed all of last year. He underwent surgery for a tear of the anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee. There's that snap throw again over there. Grissom is back. Grissom has given a lot of different looks over there too, doesn't he?
That's what you want if you're going to hold a runner at first. You want to have more than 2 distinct moves, one that goes to the plate and one that comes to first base. Then you can keep the base runner off balance. It's like a pitcher.
And the breaking ball is low. 2-0 the count to Chipper Jones. Meanwhile, Fred McGriff is on deck. Chipper Jones 2 years ago hit .325 at Richmond with 89 runs batted in, 23 steals. He can do a little bit of everything. He was always a shortstop in the minor leagues. 2-0 the count. Just over the head of Mulholland. Robbie Thompson gets Chipper Jones as Grissom takes second. 2 down. That'll bring up Fred McGriff. Now we're talking about different hitters, and here's Fred McGriff heading to the All-Star game. Now, McGriff has hit over 30 homers 7 consecutive years. I mean, that's one of the great records of all time for consistency. And yet he has only 10 home runs so far this year, now in 248 at-bats. It's kind of surprising.
It is surprising. This is probably his worst start since he's been with the Braves.
Foul tip.
The one thing I like about McGriff against left-handed pitchers, watch him, he does not stride very much. he will take a very short stride, which helps keep him back and keeps him from being fooled completely on the breaking ball.
McGriff, just the 9th player in Major League history to hit 30 home runs or more in 7 consecutive years. The other 8, all in the Hall of Fame. Let's back to the screen. And guys like Jimmy Fox, Lou Gehrig, Eddie Matthews, Mike Schmidt, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and Ralph Kiner, the other 8.
Well, that's pretty good company. But that's quite an accomplishment. He hit 30 home runs a year for over 7 straight years.
Especially last year when he only got 2/3 of a season to do it.
Right.
He hit 34 home runs last year before the strike.
But he's hit well against Mulholland. He's 15 for 31 with 3 homers and 10 runs batted in. So, good pitch.
Well, he made short work of him this time.
Well, he had him looking for a breaking ball.
We're heading to the 4th inning. It'll be Thompson, then Bonds. No score from Atlanta. John Miller, Joe Morgan. Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. Top of the 4th. No score. Robbie Thompson leads it off against Kent Mercker, and it is ball 1. Then Barry Bonds and Glenallen Hill. Thompson struck out looking his first time. And that misses. Now, one thing that Leo Mazzoni told us before the game was that Mercker's had some problems this year. He's been leaving his changeup up and over the middle of the plate a lot.
And the reason for that, John, a lot of times is when a pitcher doesn't have the confidence in that pitch, he'll just try to throw it for a strike, and it'll slow his arm speed down, and then it's not really a changeup. It becomes a mediocre hit-me fastball.
Thompson chasing that high fastball.
Mazzoni's going to try to, Mercker's going to try to make the catch himself.
Good a hustle by Mercker, and he goes down right next to the box seat railing there.
Well, he tripped on the ESPN sign, maybe. I can't believe that. I mean, McGriff was going after it. He thought it was going to go in the stands to see McGriff coming, but here is Mercker, and he trips over the chair, and the young fella there in the first row does not make the catch.
I mean, why are those chairs there?
That's where the ball boys sit. They rub up the balls and take them to the umpire. There they are. Yeah. Right in between them, they keep the ball. They should have pulled the chairs when they ran away. They should have.
2-2, the count to Robbie Thompson. Barry Bonds on deck. Right to third, Chipper Jones. And there's one away. Barry Bonds, he had an extraordinary 6-day period. Began a week ago last Friday at home. Bottom of the 9th inning, Giants down 5-4, 2 men on, and he hit a game-winning home run. What a moment. Then Tuesday, or rather Monday in Cincinnati, 8th inning, a 7-7 tie, and he went deep again. Giants won it 8-7. Then Thursday in Cincinnati, they were down again in the 9th inning, and Bonds hit a 3-run homer in the 9th, and he won another one. Now that's some clutch hitting 3 times in 6 days.
Well, as we said before, he's really a one-man band right now, because if he doesn't get it done, the Giants just do not have enough offense to win ball games.
The dribbler back to Mercker. He throws out Barry Bonds, out number 2. 2 down, and let's go to Gary Miller for an update.
John, MCI takes us to the side of the All-Star game. 11th inning, 3-all. Yankees and Rangers. McLemore in scoring position. Steve Howe against Mickey Tettleton, who had tied the game in the 8th with a home run. Knocks in McLemore, and they pull it out 4-3. They're tied for first with the Angels. The first afternoon action in Arlington since 1988. Back to you.
Afternoon action in Arlington in the summertime. Here is Glenallen Hill. Thanks, Gary. Arlington, the ballpark in Arlington, the site of the All-Star game on Tuesday. And it should be, I think, a good site for the All-Star game. All seems to carry well there. And it's a real interesting, one of the new ballparks in baseball. Glenallen Hill, 1 ball and no strikes. He popped out his first time. Swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. You'll be there for the home run derby tomorrow, right?
Yes, I'm looking forward to doing the home run derby. Last year in Pittsburgh, there were some monumental blasts hit by some of the contestants.
Oh, name one.
Big Bert. But again, this last year, Ken Griffey Jr. won, and he's not in the contest this year because of an injury. So
he won the last 2 years, didn't he?
Yeah, it opens it up for someone else to win now.
That's a foul down the left field line, and the bat ends up at the feet of Chipper Jones. chipper. How'd that get there?
Well, we'll take a look at the pitch. I don't know if this is... No, it hits toward the end of the bat, but I would say that's not good wood when it breaks like that. I mean, that's looks like termites in there, right?
He's got a termite problem.
Yeah.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Glenallen Hill. Tomorrow, 7:30, the Legends of the Game All-Star Classic, and then Home Run Derby at 9. Some of baseball's great sluggers will duke it out. Mano a mano, and then 10:30, the All-Star Gala. There's strike 3 to Glenallen Hill. For the pitcher's night, Dave Justice, Javi Lopez coming up. No score from Atlanta.
Did you seduce her just to spite me? You say that again, and we're not brothers.
There is a legend that must be told of what is lost in our world. What is savage in our hearts, and what is wild in us all. Legends of the Fall, rated R.
ESPN Net Sports Zone, your gateway to the game. Intelligent, interactive, instantaneous. The #1 sports site on the net. Plug your brain into the zone. ESPN Net Sports Zone. Baseball's home base on the net. Scores, stats, analysis. It's on the net before it's in the news. You're in the zone or you're out.
Well, this guy on the Milwaukee Brewers, Jeff Cirillo, he sleeps with his bat when he's in a slump. Turk Wendell has this thing when he's pitching on the mound. He chews black licorice. And Dwayne Ward of the Blue Jays, he wears the same shirt under his jersey for every game.
Hey, Dad, pass me that Lucky Gravy.
I told you not to call it by its name, Lucky Gravy. Now you've jinxed it.
We're in Atlanta. No score. Last of the 4th inning. Mulholland and Mercker, a couple of southpaws. Off to a very strong start here. The Giants trying to survive here before the All-Star break. The Braves trying to get a stranglehold in the National League East as quickly as possible. Dave Justice pops it foul and will come out of play. Justice walked his first time. That is the first strike that he has seen from Mulholland. Lopez will follow.
John, a few years ago, they were comparing Will Clark and Dave Justice, their swings as being the 2 sweetest swings in baseball. To be perfectly honest with you, both of them have changed a lot over the last couple of years. Due to injury, you know, the Will Clark's had a right elbow problem. Justice has had wrist problems. I mean, he's had problems. Their swings have changed. They're not the long, free-flowing swings that they had a few years ago.
Too high, but in some ways you seem to like Justice's swing better now, don't you?
Yes, I do. I think it's a shorter swing now, more compact, and I think he'll hit for a higher average with this swing than the first one he had. The first one was great. He had some great years with it, but it was just a longer swing. But what happens to Justice and young players, they start to throw you a lot more change-ups, more curveballs in, and you have to adjust and wait a little longer. And that, in effect, shortens your swing when you wait a little longer.
Foul ball, 2-2 to Justice.
Take a look at the swing of Justice. This one, we'll take a look. I'll show you. See, that's a lot shorter than what he had before. It was a lot longer. He extended more, just a longer swing. It took a little longer for him to get to the ball.
2-2. A little bit low. Pretty good eye on that. 3-2. Justice leading it off here in the 4th. Javier Lopez will follow. There's Javi. And then Mike Kelly due up 3rd in the inning. No score. Did he swing? Yes, he did.
Good pitch there by Mulholland. That was a different breaking ball than any of that he has thrown Justice before. That was more like a cut fastball that just kind of moved away quicker. The other curveballs, Justice had time to wait. Now watch, see, he has to commit quicker here, and that's what got him in trouble. Good pitch there by Mulholland. We saw him go out to pitch before and check his swing. You can't check your swing if the speed is there.
Well, Mulholland is looking real solid. 5 strikeouts for him. Lopez. Thompson. Out number 2. Lopez struck out his first time. He's 0 for 2 in the game. Now here is Mike Kelly.
In the game that Mulholland pitched Tuesday, John, we were amazed at how well he was throwing the ball. A couple of early errors in that ball game by Scarsoni at third base got him in trouble. And he's had good defense behind him today, so he's pitching well.
2 down, Kelly grounded to third his first time. Mulholland had not had more than 3 strikeouts in any game this year until tonight. And that slider is low. Now in 3 2/3 innings, he has 5 strikeouts. Now, he was pitching with pain all year long. When they actually went into his elbow to find out what was in there, they couldn't believe that he pitched at all this year.
I was told there were 5 little chips in there, about fingernail size, and that's, you're right, that's amazing to pitch with chips like that in your elbow.
He faced the Braves on opening night this year, and he just got annihilated. And it happened in a lot of other ball games, too. He gave up 6 consecutive hits to start that game. First 6 batters he faced as a Giant all got hits against him. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning and 2 more in the second. And then it
got worse, huh?
As they say in Hideo Nomo's home country, sayonara. And he gets the put out on Kelly. He's on a roll. He's given up just 3 hits, no runs through 4 innings. Scoreless, we head to the 5th. Carreon will be coming up. 8 straight, playing for 9. That's the Atlanta Braves story, and we're checking in on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Here's the 5th inning now. The Giants coming up, and a changeup for a called strike to Mark Carreon from Kent Mercker. Carreon has the only Giants hit, and it was an infield hit. Mercker has been something else so far. There's a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, Mark Carreon, happy birthday. 32 years old today.
And he is a hitter, John. I mean, this guy is a professional hitter in every sense of the word.
This one is caught by Jeff Blauser. And there is 1 away. Well, we're talking about the Braves and their winning streak, and they've won some very dramatically against the Dodgers Wednesday. Chipper Jones, bottom of the 9th inning, the game was tied at 1, and then he ended it with a 3-run homer. And then next night, bottom of the 9th again, game tied, and Fred McGriff got the base hit. Now watch this throw by Mondesi, trying to get Grissom. What a throw!
What a slide.
Man, more excitement. 2 sudden death wins in a row against the Dodgers. The night before those 2 sudden death wins, they won it on a base hit in the bottom of the 8th inning. So they had quite a series here with the Dodgers, especially when you hear it told from the Braves side, since they won all 3. Dodgers weren't too thrilled.
No. Dodgers happened to come in here at the wrong time. Braves started pitching well and hitting well. Dodger pitchers pitched well in that series, just could not get a victory.
I mean, Nomo got locked up with John Smoltz. I like Smoltz's attitude in that game. He said, man, guy comes in, he's red hot, I want to pitch against him. And Smoltz was every bit as effective as Nomo and matched him with strikeouts, too. I think Smoltz had 12 strikeouts, Nomo had 13. Braves.
Bean eaters, huh?
The Boston Bean Eaters. I don't remember them being called the Bean Eaters.
I don't remember them either, John.
That is a base hit into shallow center field for Royce Clayton. His first hit, the Giants' second against Mercker. 1 out, 1 on now in the 6th inning. I'm just trying to get that straight, though. It's the first time
in July they've been 8-0.
In the first 8 games of July.
Right.
That they've won all 8
games since they were
since
to Boston.
1902.
Since where they were the Boston Bean Eaters.
The Boston. In the 30s, there was a year or 2 where they were called the Boston Bees. I remember that. Which team did Babe Ruth finish his career with? The Braves.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, you knew it.
Yeah, the Boston Braves, I remember that.
It was 60 years ago, 1935. In fact, he hit his final 3 home runs in the same game at Forbes Field. 1 cleared the roof. They said it was the longest home run ever hit in that ballpark for that time. And then within a week, he retired. It was a pretty good way to finish. the career, though. And I believe they would have been home runs 712, 713, and 714.
I don't think you can get anyone to disagree with that.
Kurt Manwaring, the hitter, lined to shallow center his first time. Clayton at first. There he goes. Dave Justice coming on. He's going to make a throw. Safely back is Clayton.
And Dusty Baker, like Bobby Cox, likes to use the hit and run, especially in tight ball games. And that was a hit and run situation there. The Giants sent Clayton from first base, and Justice makes the catch. I think Justice is a very underrated outfielder, although this is not one of his better throws. I think he has turned into a very good defensive outfielder in the last couple of years.
Dave Justice. Had 40 home runs a couple of years ago. First year that McGriff came over. Had quite a trio that year with Justice, McGriff, and Ron Gant. Now Gant is in Cincinnati. And there's talk that maybe McGriff will be somewhere else next year.
I really find that hard to believe, but if you read between the lines, that's what it looks like. When you read some of the quotes that are attributed to John Sherholtz and Bobby Cox, Stan Kasten, the brass here, it seems that maybe McGriff may not be here. And you just mentioned the guy has hit 30 home runs a year for 7 straight years, and he may not have a job. It's kind of similar. They compared it to the situation that we had in Cincinnati once, where Tony Perez was the first baseman and the young phenom was Danny Dreesen.
Traded Perez to make room for Dreesen. But going, great shot by Clayton. He stole that one on Mercker. Even I knew that.
Yes, you're correct, too. He had a great running start there, and really no chance for Lopez to throw him out. But let's take a look and watch he'll go in his first movement. There he goes. See, right away. And Mercker's not that quick to the plate anyway. And they're going to walk Benjamin intentionally. Take a look at the throw. Lopez comes up and fires a strike, but see Clayton already in.
And there's the completion of the intentional walk, which happened because he stole a base. Brings out the pitcher. But this could pay off maybe the next inning, Joe. Even if Mulholland goes down, at least out of this they got the leadoff man to be able to lead off the next inning instead of Mulholland.
That's what I was going to bring up. I think it was a very good play for the Giants to go ahead and steal a base, especially in a tie ball game. And if they decide to walk him, that's fine. And you mentioned they have a leadoff hitter lead it off next inning. But let me finish that story about McGriff. Ryan Klesko is a first baseman by trade, and they feel that he would be more comfortable at first base. And that was a situation with Danny Dreesen and Tony Perez. Dreesen played some left field, but he wasn't comfortable out there. And the Reds ended up trading Tony Perez and bringing Danny Dreesen in. And actually, it took the Reds 14 years after that before they got back to a World Series, and they had just won in 75 and 76.
So I remember Sparky Anderson after the fact saying, hey, that was the biggest mistake that was made while I was there.
Well, it was easy for Sparky to say that afterwards. I got in trouble, John, because when they made the trade, I said, did anyone ever stop to think that maybe we couldn't win without Tony? And that was a bad thing for me to say. Everyone was upset with me.
Very politically incorrect.
Yes, it was. I got in trouble.
Well, Sparky said after we traded him, then I realized that he was the glue. He was the important man in that clubhouse. He was the leader.
Yeah.
Strike 3. Mulholland now thrown out. The ball taken by Lopez. That's it for the Giants. No score. We go to the last of the 5th.
On Friday, July 28th, Universal Pictures invites you to a world like none you've ever seen before. Kevin Costner. Waterworld, rated PG-13, starts July 28th.
Wild one in the bet, 6-6 between the Cubs and Phils. Watch Darren Dalton on a double play ball in the 12th inning take out Scott Service. He'd be carried off. He has at least a sprained left knee. Cub coach Dan Radisson had words with Jim Fregosi. Both catchers admitted they would have done the same. To the 13th, still 6-all. Todd Zeal. Is that going to be deep enough to get Brian McRae? Yes, it is. The Cubs have won 8 of 9. The Phils have lost 8 of 9. They could be 4 back by night's end.
Thanks, Gary. And here come the Braves now in a 0-0 ball game. Rafael Belliard, the 8th place hitter, facing Terry Mulholland. You see the Central, the Cubs 6.5 back of Cincinnati. Houston had a real hot streak there for a while, only 5 games out. So the Cubs still with aspiration. They've had a pretty good week since we saw them last Sunday at Wrigley Field. Royce Clayton throws out Belliard. Belliard's 0 for 2. And that'll bring up the pitcher Kent Mercker with 1 out in the 5th inning in a 0-0 ball game. The Phillies, meanwhile, have lost 11 of their last 13 in the National League East. It's turning into a nightmare for them, what I guess you might call a free fall for the Phillies, who had been ahead of the Braves and for much of the first part of the season well ahead of the Braves. Here's Kent Mercker. Tries to bunt his way aboard. Who do you think he was? Rod Carew there? Strike one. Talk about the East now. Now the Phillies are 3.5 out. I mean, what, 2 weeks ago they were 37 and 18. And that's a swing and a miss. That's why in baseball you can't make conclusions based on the first month or even the first 2 months of a season. Remember how hot the Cubs were at the start. What were they? They were 20-9 or something at some point. Well, that's it for Mercker. Next time, Kent, just tell him you're going to strike out, and we'll save some time. 2 down.
And a lot of things have changed in the National League West as well. I mean, the fact that when we're in Los Angeles, the Dodgers were on the road starting to play very well, and the Rockies were on the road. I think the Rockies have proven by hanging in there on that road trip that they are for real. And right now, of course, they have the lead in the National League West. And Coors Field is being kind to them.
Here's Marquise Grissom. Well, one thing is for sure. I mean, today, for instance, the Rockies won, and the Rockies hit 4 home runs. But the other team didn't hit any.
Right. See, that's a good point. A lot of people complain that the Rockies' averages are inflated, but everyone plays in the same ballpark, although the Rockies, of course, play more games there. But the Rockies have hit home runs on the road a lot this year. I mean, Galarraga's 3 home runs came on in one game came on the road.
San Diego. Grissom pops it up. Clayton going out. Well, Terry Mulholland has just been sensational. The Giants have to be so pleased because this is an important man in their rotation. We're heading to the 6th inning. Lewis, Thompson, and then Bonds coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. John Miller, Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters here with you. Just a couple of nights before the All-Star game. A bunt by Darren Lewis. And he's going to beat it out. Base hit for Darren Lewis.
Excellent bunt there by Darren Lewis. You can't place it any better. If you push it closer to the line, McGriff would come off, get it, and tag you going by. But he got it perfectly toward the second baseman. Now watch, see McGriff there, he charges, but the ball is bunted away from McGriff. McGriff doesn't know what to do. All of a sudden, he realizes if I go get it, he's safe anyway. So Belliard tries to make the play, and just an excellent bunt there by Darren Lewis. Who says bunting is a lost art?
Not Darren Lewis, not Brett Butler. Robbie Thompson bunting, but he bunted it foul. Now, Lewis has stolen 17 bases. He leads the Giants in that category. And we've seen a steal tonight already against Mercker. Clayton stole one in the 5th inning. I mean, why not let him try to steal a base and then bunt him to 3rd?
Well, when Robbie Thompson was at his best, having good years, the Giants would not bunt in this situation. They would pick a pitch, hit and run, or let the guy steal the base and then let Robbie bunt him over or shoot the ball to the right side. Robbie Thompson struggling at 206 starting tonight's action, so they're not as confident in doing things with Robbie as they were before.
So for 2 tonight. He was showing bunt again, and the pitch was very high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Thompson backs away, looks down at Wendell Kim, the third base coach, who is in turn looking in at the dugout at Dusty Baker. Okay, Joe, what did he just tell him to do?
Well, he told Robbie, I'll get to you later, and Darren, you do what you want to do at first.
It's the bunt. Nice one. Merker's only plays to first, Belliard covering. And the sacrifice has been executed. From 1 to 4, the pitcher to the second baseman covering. And Barry Bonds is coming out. Now, why? Are they just going to walk him?
Well, this is the situation. I don't believe they would have bunted with Barry coming up if there was a right-handed pitcher on the mound. But with a left-hander on the mound, he thinks that they may try to get Barry out. And being perfectly honest with you, the way Barry has been swinging a bat, I don't think you take a chance on him, but we'll see how the Braves play it.
We got the right-handed hitter up next.
Right, but I guarantee you that they will pitch him in tight. They will try to stay in tight on him in this at-bat.
Bonds 0 for 2 in this game and only 3 for 16 lifetime against Mercker. Ball 1.
Well, that tells me that they're really not, in my opinion, they're not going to try to get him out. The way for left-handers with a good fastball to pitch Barry Bonds is to try to stay tight on him. You throw breaking balls out over the plate, and he will hammer it over the center field wall for you.
Fastball for a strike.
He was set up outside, and he threw it inside.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bonds among the league leaders in all the key categories. Home runs, RBIs. Also walks. 51 times this year he has walked.
And I'm surprised he hasn't walked even more, John, with the fact that Matt Williams has been out and Barry's been the one to carry him. Just go ahead and walk him in most cases. That's the solution to Barry Bonds.
Well, it went to the inside. Strike 2 call.
Well, that's where they have to pitch him. You may go away or try to set him up thinking away. Threw him a curveball away the first pitch. Came back inside with a fastball. Now he comes in there again with a fastball. That's the way you have to pitch him. Now, either you go away with a ways pitch and then come back inside, or you just fire it in there again.
Well, that's what he did. He fired it in there again, but missed with it that time.
Well, I think they're just being careful, John, because remember, you hit the inside corner, you're going to get him out. If you miss 6 inches with that and get it out over the plate, he's going to hit you out. So, I mean, you're really skating on thin ice by trying to pitch him inside. And that's good pitching there from Kent Mercker. And I have to give the staff credit for that because they had a pattern they wanted to use with Barry Bonds. They went away with a breaking ball on the first pitch. Then they came back inside with a strike, and then they just pounded him inside. I mean, this is perfect pitching. I mean, if he moves that ball 6 inches out over the plate, Barry will probably hit it out of the ballpark. I think Barry first nodded that that was a good pitch. He shook his head like, good pitch.
2 down, and here's Glenallen Hill. Runner still at second. That's Darren Lewis. Oh, man.
That's some bad wood.
That bat ends up near second base, and Chipper Jones throws him out. That bat exploded. Blauser, Jones, and McGriff coming up. No score in Atlanta. It's a tight one here. The Braves trying to head into the All-Star break with their 9th straight win, but so far nothing's been decided. The Braves, a perennial contender in the 90s. There's Kent Mercker, who has never beaten the San Francisco Giants. He shut them out on 3 hits, and he has gotten Barry Bonds to go 0 for 3. Here is Jeff Blauser against Mulholland, and a high pop-up. The catcher didn't know where it was. All the way down the line comes Benjamin, and he makes the catch. Manwaring had no idea where the ball was.
Well, sometimes the catcher knows where it is, but he'd rather have somebody else come get it. And it should be, the play should be made by one of the infielders, either the first baseman or the third baseman. So good job there by Benjamin.
You see the numbers now. Each team with only 3 hits. Mulholland 6 strikeouts. Mercker 5. Each pitcher with just the 1 walk. But the Giants just have to be ecstatic over what they've seen from Mulholland, facing a red-hot team in their home ballpark in the launching pad. Chipper Jones. You know, Chipper Jones had that game-winning home run against the Dodgers in the bottom of the 9th Wednesday. That's the 3rd time this year he's done that. Chipper Jones, May the 8th, or rather May the 9th in the 9th inning at New York, May the 20th against Florida here in the 9th inning. High in the air, deep into right center. Glenallen Hill makes the catch on the warning track. Chipper Jones retired. 2 men gone. Now, the All-Star game is Tuesday the next night. Second half action. Gary Gaetti is having a great year. The Kansas City Royals facing Paul O'Neill and the New York Yankees. They pulled one out in Texas today. O'Neill, Mattingly, and the Yankees against the Kansas City Royals. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN. Now Fred McGriff. In a ball game like this, in the launching pad, the ball carries very well here. We're considerably above sea level in Atlanta. Not like in Denver. It's not a mile high, but the ball has always carried well here. And the Braves have a few guys who can hit one out at any time in a ball game, such as this guy, Fred McGriff. Fred not just a big home run hitter either. He had 318 last year.
Well, he has become a better and better hitter each year. And I think the reason for that is because he used the entire field, especially against left-handed pitching. He struggled early in his career. He was platooned against left-handed pitching because he tried to pull everything and pulled off. Now he takes a short stride, and he really basically hits the ball from left center to right center against left-handed pitching now.
There's Mulholland aiming for that inside edge, but he just missed with it. 2-2 the count. McGriff, 34 homers last year, 37 the year before, 35 the year before that. The worst year for him the last 7 years, he hit 31. That's a foul.
John, a lot of pitchers believe that they can get left-handers out with curveballs, and in a lot of cases they can. But a good hitter from the left side, you have to jam him if you're a left-hand pitcher. I think you have to pitch him inside and then open up the outside of the plate. You can't just pitch him away, because good hitters will go out there and go the other way, or they'll just go out and get it. You cannot just stay away with good hitters. You have to fire him up inside, as we saw Mercker do with Bonds.
Dave Justice would be next. Well, that looked like a breaking ball, didn't it? What do you think?
Yes. Well, if he pulls it, I know it's a breaking ball.
Yeah, he was late on every single fastball.
Right. So if he pulls it, it's a breaking ball. And that's another point. They just feel like they can get the left-handers out with breaking balls. Doesn't matter if you're getting him out with a fastball or he's late on the fastball. As a left-handed hitter, you will get a breaking ball to hit. And here's the situation. As you mentioned, he was late on all the fastballs, so he throws him a breaking ball. Now he pulls it, and the defense is set up for him to go the other way, so he finds a hole on the right side. That's, usually you pitch him hard and play him the other way. They were playing him the other way and threw him something soft.
The reason I knew they were going to throw him a breaking ball, Joe,
how's that?
I stole the sign.
Oh, okay. I didn't steal it.
I used the center field camera. He dropped 2.
Oh, okay.
Here's Dave Justice. That's the first time I've stolen a sign like that.
Oh, he dropped the deuce on him.
Yeah. I feel like I could be a coach now for a big league ball club.
Oh, okay.
A guy who specializes in stealing signs. Dave Justice has walked and struck out. Look out. That one was a ball.
But it still serves its purpose. He was going inside. Contrary to the fact that pitchers are trying to take the inside cornerback, you do not have to throw at hitters to do that. You just have to let them know that you will pitch the ball towards the inside part of the plate. I think it's a shame that Mark McGwire is going to miss the All-Star game, because he was hitting the head yesterday. And I saw a quote from David Cohn, who said he's never been a headhunter. He wasn't headhunting yesterday. And I personally believe Cohn. Only McGwire and Cohn know for sure, I think. So I believe as a hitter, you know if a guy's throwing at you. There's a certain feeling that you get. There's a certain vibration that comes with that ball headed towards your head. You know in your mind whether he threw at you or not. That's why you see a lot of hitters charge the mound. In their mind, the guy was throwing at them. Sometimes they're wrong, of course, but there's a feeling you get.
That's a foul. 2-2 to Justice. Well, I asked Bobby Cox about that before the game, because he knows David Cohn. He's known him for a long time.
Right.
And he said absolutely, positively, no way
I agree
that he would have been throwing at Mark McGwire like that.
I agree, but Mark is the one that's still missing the All-Star game. So the point is that he probably wasn't throwing it. I know he wasn't throwing at his head, but the point still remains that, he got hit in the head.
2-2. And back to the backstop. The Carreon played. The throw to second. He's out. Only in Atlanta. Manwaring played the Carreon. It was almost as if they've worked on it. We're heading to the 7th inning. Carreon will be leading it off, then Clayton, and then Manwaring.
I think it breaks right.
Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. No score after 6 innings, and the last inning ended rather oddly.
Well, this is the old Giants trick play. This is the play they put on if you got a medium-pace runner at second base. He fires it off the backstop. He fires to Clayton, and McGriff is tagged out at second base.
And here we go to the 7th. Carreon, the hitter, and he takes ball 1. I still can't believe I saw that play, Joe. You don't see that too many places.
No, you do not. But the backstop here is pretty close, a little closer than a lot of the places in the National League. There you see it just bounced right back to Manwaring.
And those doors back behind him must be hard.
Yeah.
It happened here the other night when Nomo was pitching. The only run Nomo allowed was on a pitch, a wild pitch. It got past Piazza. And then Piazza got the carom just like Manwaring did, but he tossed it to Nomo covering the plate, and Nomo couldn't handle the throw, and the run scored. 3-1 now to Carreon, who has singled and popped to short. Clayton and Manwaring scheduled to follow against Kent Mercker. We're in a scoreless ball game. 4 hits for the Braves, 3 for the Giants. And that is only the second walk allowed by Mercker. So the batter will be Royce Clayton. Mercker's thrown 82 pitches, as you can see. 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Remember now, he has never beaten the San Francisco Giants.
Well, here's another situation where Dusty Baker has to make a decision whether try hit and run, try bunt, just do something to get his team into scoring position.
A strike. Well, I like the hit and run call.
I do too. Well, especially on the road. I think he bunted in the second inning, last inning with Thompson, because Thompson has not been swinging the bat well, and he wanted to force the issue with Barry. He wanted to make them pitch to Barry, which they did. He didn't like the results, but he at least got Barry Bonds an official at bat. That's what he wanted.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, you have to hand it to Kent Mercker. He had a challenge, and he pitched beautifully.
There's Johnny B, better known as Dusty Baker.
Down the right field line, foul. Dusty Baker had some fine years with the Braves. With Henry Aaron here and company. There's some great offensive ball clubs in Atlanta back in the early 70s. And we're seeing some strong pitching tonight, and the Braves starters in that series of the Dodgers, look at that. The starters never gave, well, they had no record but a 1.23 ERA. The relievers were perfect. 3-0 with a save. Swinging late on the Mercker fastball.
John, I also want to mention Bobby Cox was a player too. He played in the Dodger organization. In fact, Bobby and I played against each other in the minor leagues. He was at Albuquerque and I was at San Antonio. And Bobby was a little infielder, utility infielder, played third base, played shortstop, played some second base.
No score in this game. Nobody out, runner at first. In the dirt, nice save by Javi Lopez. And that could be a big play in a 0-0 game because it keeps Carreon from moving into scoring position.
And it's kind of overlooked because most of the time we expect the catchers to block the ball and keep it in front of them because that's their job. But he comes up with it cleanly. He tried to get his body in front, but he made a good catch with the glove.
1-2 to Clayton. He singled his last time. Easily back was Carreon.
Carreon is not a base stealer. In fact, he doesn't have a stolen base this year, but he runs okay. He just doesn't steal bases.
The outfield playing Clayton to swing a little bit late. They're pushed toward the right field line a bit. 1-2. This could be 2. There's 1. Belliard to first. Too late. McGriff cannot dig it out. Carreon went in pretty hard on Belliard over at second base.
That was a slow developing double play. By that I mean Blauser probably should have charged that ball a little bit just to get it to second base a little quicker, and he kind of waited on it. So it was just kind of slow developing. I could tell that was not going to be a double play. See, he sits there and waits for it. And when you do that, you lose a couple of steps to the runner. And even though Belliard came across and made a good throw, you see he was not going to get Clayton at first base.
So now Clayton is aboard. Now Clayton can steal a base. He has 12 steals this year. And this ball went a man. In fact, he has 13 because he got one tonight. Back in the 5th inning. Manwaring is flying to shallow center and flying to shallow right. And now Lopez out to speak to Kent Mercker. Not really a hot, stultifyingly hot night here in Atlanta. I mean, oftentimes this time of year you can expect 95 degrees and stifling humidity, but the humidity's down somewhat. The temperature was in the 80s.
No, it's great baseball weather. This is a very good time to play baseball here in Atlanta.
Bullpen activity for the Giants. Left-hander Shawn Barton, their only left-hander in the bullpen. He's warming up. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Manwaring. Benjamin on deck, and then the pitcher's spot would be due, so they'll be ready in case they need to think about pinch hitting for Mulholland. No score. 7th inning. Oh, there's that fastball on the inside. 1-1.
You'll see Mercker, I think, throw the first base more often with Clayton over there because he wants to make sure he keeps Clayton close, because if he doesn't, that takes away the off-speed pitches. He can't throw any off-speed pitches to Manwaring if he doesn't hold Clayton close at first base.
That is a base hit to right field. Clayton turns the corner. He's going to head for third. Here comes a throw by Justice. And he is safe. Great throw by Justice.
I tell you what, Clayton seemed like he was going to make it, thinking that he was going to make it easily. And when he rounded second base, it didn't look like he was really had it in high gear. Although he's bending down at third base as if something is bothering him. Now watch Clayton. Something must be bothering him. Now the ball's in the hole. Now watch. See, he's just kind of trotting around the bag. He's not going full out there. Now all of a sudden he realizes there's a play and he tries to speed it up, but he is safe. But he's bent over at third base like something is bothering him.
Good call, I thought. The replay showed a good call by Hahn.
You can see something is bothering him. His legs are bothering him because he was not running full speed around second base.
Here's Mike Benjamin. Runners at first and third now. In the dirt, knocked down by Lopez. This marks the first time in the game that the Giants have gotten a runner as far as third. Clayton had gotten to second in the 5th. Carreon got to second in the 2nd.
And John, remember, the Braves missed a double play on Clayton that could have had, 2 outs and no one on base. So that becomes a very big play now.
Blauser should have been a little more aggressive.
Right.
Look out. Safety squeeze. The runner was not coming. Benjamin squared the bunt. The pitch was very much out of the strike zone. 2-0. Now, the pitcher's spot is up next. Here's Wendell Kim.
But that's why Dusty Baker wants to make something happen with Benjamin, because I don't think he wants to take Mulholland out of this ballgame. But if he doesn't score, he may have to. Benjamin doesn't get the runner in.
Well, they may force the issue here, maybe even unintentionally.
I don't think he'll mind pinch hitting with the bases loaded and 1 out. I don't think he wants to pinch hit with 2 down and put the hitter in a situation where he has to get a base hit.
So down in the Atlanta bullpen now, Brad DeClance is going to get up. That is ball 4. He walked him on 4 pitches. And I'm wondering, is Mercker starting to show signs of fatigue here?
Well, all the pitches were high, and they did not have the same velocity on it that he's had early in the game. That last pitch was 86 miles an hour. And again, that was a high pitch, and a high pitch will always give you a higher reading than a low pitch will.
Well, that's it for Mulholland. But, I mean, they better score now, because you take out Mulholland. I mean, he has shut the Braves down. He's been impressive.
He's going to pinch hit for it. Well, he doesn't mind, like I said, in this situation, simply because, there's 1 out, and the guy does not have to get a base hit. He would have really hated to take him out if there were 2 down.
There's Pedro Borbon, the left-hander, who's joined the right-hander, Brad DeClance, in the Atlanta bullpen. No score, but the Giants with their first serious threat. Bases loaded, 1 out, And Rickert Fanita is out to pinch hit for Mulholland. Terry Mulholland back in the dugout and exchanging congratulatory handshakes. Well, regardless of what happens in this game, the Giants had to be very hopeful now that the Mulholland that they were hoping to have signed may be present for the second half of this season.
Well, I agree, John. I think they were very happy after his outing in Cincinnati on Tuesday. They really knew that he pitched well. He just did not get the support defensively that he needed.
7th inning. The Braves bring the infielders in at the corners. The middle infielders, double play depth as you see. The bases are loaded. Mercker will continue from the stretch. Fanita hitting .304 in limited duty. They strike at the knees. It's 0-1. Fanita is 2 for 6 as a pinch hitter.
And he runs pretty well, so this can help him stay out of the double play unless he hits a ball very sharply at one of the infielders.
Clayton at third, Van Waring at second, Benjamin at first. Right there, strike 2 call.
Well, Steve Scarsoni is probably the best pinch hitter they have on the bench, the best hitter, but this is only the 7th inning, so Dusty doesn't want to use him this early, I don't believe, and so he's using Fanita.
Strike 3 call. He never swung the bat. Man.
Well, you have to remember, Fanita is a young player. He has not been in the big leagues. He hasn't done this that often. And he walks up there, and here's a guy that's used to playing every day in the minor leagues. Now you call on him as a pinch hitter. He just cannot deliver in this situation. No excuse for not swinging at all, though.
Well, I mean, when it's 2 strikes, you kind of have to protect his strike zone a little bit. Darren Lewis, right center. Grissom goes back. He's there, and he makes the catch. Mercker gets out of the jam. The Giants have lost their starting pitcher, who had a 4-hit shutout going. It'll be Justice coming up. No score in Atlanta. John Miller, Joe Morgan back in Atlanta. Dusty Baker took his starting pitcher out with a shutout and then got nothing for it.
Well, that was a tough situation. He set up Rickert Fanita, who is a young player who is just up from the minor leagues. But you've got Steve Scarsoni sitting on the bench, and Scarsoni is one of the better hitters on the Giants ball club. But a lot of managers do not like to use their top pinch hitter in the 7th inning because they figure they have another shot. But this is a situation where if you're going to take out your starting pitcher who had only thrown like 70-plus pitches, you might have to go for it. But, you know, Dusty knows his personnel a little better than I do. I should say a lot better than I do.
Well, I mean, it's a good point. Now, I mean, Mulholland threw 74 pitches. It's not like he was finished for the night. There's Shawn Barton on to pitch now for the Giants. An old, young left-hander. He's 32 years old, but he's just making it in the big leagues here. And he's the only lefty the Giants have in their bullpen. And he's on to face Dave Justice. Mark Leiter, a right-hander, is still up in the Giants bullpen. Both teams' bullpens are a little bit expanded, I would imagine, with the All-Star break coming up. They've got some starters who might ordinarily be working tomorrow or the next day who could be available tonight. Dave Justice off the hands. Foul. Justice was at the plate when the Giants used the old rebound off the backstop trick to lure Fred McGriff into going to second base. You don't see that. I mean, this is one of the only ballparks where a play like that could have happened.
John, we might also mention that, you know,
that one is whacked down the right field line. Foul ball.
We might also mention that, you know, Dusty Baker has done a great job just keeping the Giants as close as he has. So it's not a matter of him making the wrong move or whatever. This is just a situation that didn't work out for the Giants. We take a look at Justice. He rips this ball down the line. I didn't think it had any chance of going foul, but look at that. It really hooks at the last moment and just barely foul down the right field line. There you see the call by their first base umpire.
I could have left Mulholland up there, put the suicide squeeze on or something.
Well, it's tough with the bases loaded to suicide squeeze because there's a force out at the plate. Very rarely does a suicide squeeze work with the bases loaded. And again, you're only getting one run there, and you're on the road, and with the bases loaded and one out, you try to break the game open. You try to get more than one, I should say.
That was what he was trying to do.
Yeah, trying to get more than one.
Big hop for Robbie Thompson.
But I would venture a guess that if he could do it all over again, he may not use the same pinch hitter.
Yeah, if he knew then what we know now.
Right.
Well, pretty nice night for Terry Mulholland, the veteran, who's made the hard trip back, pitching in pain, and then finally undergoing surgery. He's back, and that's his best game of the year.
Yeah. Well, John, that would be a lot of people's best game of the year right there. 6 innings, pitched 4 hits, only 1 base on ball, 6 punch outs. That's a good job by Mulholland.
One hop, hit hard to Clayton. He throws out Lopez, 2-man down. A quick out there for Shawn Barton. Mulholland with the 6 innings of shutout pitching against the hottest team in baseball right now, the Atlanta Braves. And he's still around to watch. We saw him in the dugout long after he left the game Tuesday in Cincinnati as well.
And again, John, that rings well for the Giants, too, because that tells you that he doesn't have any problems with his arm, because normally pitcher who's had arm surgery or whatever and has problems with his arms will go up and ice his arm after he pitches. And that tells you that he feels great. And therefore, he's not up icing his arm.
Here's Mike Kelly. 2 down, nobody on. Kelly 0 for 2. Rafael Belliard due up next, but Mike Mordecai has come out on deck. That is fouled back to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's Mordecai up from the Richmond Ball Club. Both bullpens are busy, by the way. We're in the last of the 7th in a 0-0 game. 2 down, nobody on. Just missing inside. Giants third baseman in this spot, Benjamin, over very close to the foul line, protecting against the possibility of the extra base hit. 2 low. 3-1 to Kelly. Braves have 4 hits. The Giants have 4 hits. The Giants, however, have left 7 men on base now.
And, John, this is a very, very important game for the Giants. Not so much for the Braves, because the Braves have won 8 in a row. Well, they won, and the fact that the Braves are in first place, and at the All-Star break, it's important to go into the All-Star break in a good frame of mind as we see this pitch foul straight back.
Look out
off of Kelly.
It looked like it was caught right into the living room there, didn't it?
But the Giants have lost a couple of games here. They want to try to make sure they go to the All-Star break on a good note.
In the hole, Clayton sets himself. The throw, low but dug out by Carreon, and that is the inning. 3 ground ball outs. No score still. Now we head to the 8th. Thompson and then Bonds coming up. Stay with us. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball continues. No score as we move into the 8th inning. A new pitcher is on for Atlanta, Greg McMichael. A slider for ball 1 to Robbie Thompson. McMichael, who a couple of years ago was the closer for Atlanta.
Right. Well, you see he's done a good job so far this year. He's 5-0. Throws a lot of change-ups and turns the ball over. He's really a finesse pitcher. He's a big guy out there, but he's really a finesse pitcher.
38 strikeouts, 12 walks.
But he does that with his changeup, not his fastball.
3-0. Now Barry Bonds is on deck. Nobody is throwing in the Atlanta bullpen. This could be interesting. There's a strike. 3-1.
Well, I'm thinking Bobby Cox wanted to bring McMichael and make sure that he got Robbie Thompson out, and then they'd have a place to put Barry Bonds.
Yeah. So it's contingent on getting Thompson out then.
Right. Well, he does the job.
Like Robbie helped him out a little bit on that one.
Yes.
Marquise Grissom out, number 1.
Well, there's another way of looking at this, John. I'm looking at the statistics. Barry Bonds is 0 for 7 against McMichael, so maybe Bobby Cox does know more about it than we do.
Well, he could be 1 for 8 here shortly.
Yeah, I would not want to take that chance. I agree with you, especially the way Bonds has been going in the last week or so.
This has been his spot. That's ball 1. The question is, will they pitch to him here?
Yeah.
Or will they just bounce 4 pitches in there?
Well, they probably should. They got all their infielders except for Chipper Jones on the right side of the infield. There they are. They're all on the right side. Chipper Jones is playing regular shortstop. So anything down the third baseline is a gimme.
There's a drive down the right field line, but right to Dave Justice. Now, if I'm Bobby Cox, when that ball was hit,
scared me.
I lose a breath for a second.
Yeah, and you can see him talking right there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't the pitch that he wanted Bonds to get a swing at that early in the count.
3 times in a 6-day period in spots just like that one. Barry Bonds homered within the last 10 days. Twice this week. In Cincinnati, Glenallen Hill.
And you know something, John? He had a game-winning home run, the first of those 3 game-winning home runs, and the next day in the paper, one of the writers said that they should trade Barry Bonds, and that'll bring all the fans back to San Francisco. I'd never seen anything like that. Is when Barry Bonds came to San Francisco, they drew millions of people to come to see the Giants, and the fact was they said his attitude was bad, and the fans were staying away in protest of Barry Bonds. I thought they were staying away in protest of the strike and the other things that have happened in baseball. And then in a couple of days later, letters to the editor of that newspaper all supported Bonds as saying that that's the biggest joke they ever heard. And I agree with them. You have to remember, this is the guy that got the most votes for the All-Star team in the National League. And they're saying that the fans are staying away because they don't like Barry Bonds' attitude. And the fans who wrote in said, we like his 3-run homers and the way he plays the game.
A writer named C.W. Nevius.
I wasn't going to name him. You did.
Base hit for Glenallen Hill. I thought it was just one of those, let's see what kind of reaction we get to this type columns.
No, I don't think that was it. I think it was really, there was some meaning behind it, and the fact that, you know, the fans were, the Giants aren't drawing very well in San Francisco, and Barry Bonds is hitting well, and I guess the attitude was the whole point, which I just can't understand. But, you know, Barry Bonds is well loved in San Francisco. Fans love him.
Well, how about letting Billy Swift and John Burkett and Mike Jackson go before the start of the season?
Yeah.
Did that sell any tickets?
Yeah, maybe therein lies part of the problem.
Did that keep anybody away?
Yeah. Good point.
I mean, the year they signed Barry Bonds, they won 103 games, and their attendance went up 1 million.
Right. Well, remember, we were in Baltimore earlier this year, and they said that Baltimore was going to try to get Barry Bonds or Kirby Puckett. Remember, I almost laughed. I said, you can't get Barry Bonds. You know, but maybe you can if that's the case now.
Well, if he's destroying their attendance like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a way, Barry Bonds almost invites comments like that because he has a tendency to be very surly. There's Bobby Bonds, his dad, very surly with the press, very uncooperative.
Actually, I think in Barry Bonds, he embodies all the great things of baseball and what some people perceive as some of the bad things. The great things is he goes out, he plays hard, he plays left field defensively great, he plays well, he hustles, he does all the things on the field. But he does not cooperate with the writers, and so therefore some of the writers have a feeling that they need to rip him. And that's what happens. In Barry's opinion, and I talk to him quite often, his opinion is that the writers are the ones that stir up these kind of images of him with the fans and what he doesn't do and so forth and so on. Because I always wonder how much contact players have with the fans nowadays anyway. You know, that they could be that difficult to get along with.
That's part of the point of the connection with the fans is through the writers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not just Barry Bonds that the fans do not see walking down the street. It's most of the big league players nowadays are not visible in their communities. Except the ones who are involved in charities and community-related matters.
I like the comment that Jim Leland, his former manager, said recently. He said, the man played hard every single day of his life for me. I never had to worry about him not playing in the lineup. I never had to worry about him taking off. I never really had to worry about anything. He's the premier player in the National League.
You're exactly right. And he played last year with a bad elbow, and he wouldn't come out of the lineup then. He played every day then. So
he needed a little surgery.
I tell you, exactly, he had surgery when the season was over. I guarantee you what, if he is up available to be traded, I guarantee you they won't have to wait long to trade him. In fact, I'd start me a team and make him my first pick.
Maybe I can be a coach and steal some signs for you. 3-1 the count. There goes the runner. There's a high drive deep into left field. Way back there. And gone high up into the seats. A 2-run homer for Mark Carreon. A soaring, majestic homer on his 32nd birthday. His 8th home run of the year. And just like that, the Giants lead the ball game 2-0. And what a shot that was.
Well, he admired it from home plate, too. I like that. But, as I said before, he is a professional hitter. I mean, Mark Carreon has been a real support for Barry Bonds this year. There you see this is kind of a split-finger changeup that the pitch he throws, and it was just nothing on it, and Carreon put something on it.
Just like that, 2-0 San Francisco, and here is Royce Clayton, who is 1 for 3. They're celebrating in the Giants dugout. Man, that was quite a shot. That was a home run hitter's home run. That was one of those tall, majestic clouts.
Well, there's Bobby Cox. He's not happy. But again, you know, this game, in my opinion, has more meaning for the Giants than it does for the Atlanta Braves. Of course, they both want to win. And the Braves would like to go into the All-Star break with a 9-game winning streak.
I think Bobby Cox would disagree with you on that.
Yeah. No, I just think the game is going to mean more in the end. But, I mean, of course, they want to win.
Yeah, well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Braves look at it that way.
No, of course not. And they shouldn't.
Belliard throws out Clayton. But the Giants get a 2-out single from Hill. And then a magnificent home run from Mark Carreon on his birthday. 2-0. The Giants lead the Braves.
Showtime right here. Football fans, get ready for the all-new 1995 NFL Team Kickoff Kit. Free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Just tell us your favorite team.
Chargers! Cowboys! 49ers, baby.
And we'll give you an exclusive team video and a fantastic new Sports Illustrated sweatshirt.
We did it, Jimmy!
Your team kickoff kit starts with your official 1995 team video. Find out if your team will thrive in 95.
And we got plenty more where that came from.
You'll also get an incredible SI logo sweatshirt. Yours free through this exclusive TV offer.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hey, this is great. I'll put it on right now.
Call now. Use your credit card and you'll get 54 issues of Sports Illustrated for only $1.47 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price. And your incredible team kickoff kit is free. Nobody gives you more of your team than Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
And there's downtown Atlanta. Atlanta, the site of the 1996 Summer Olympics in the centennial anniversary of the Olympic Games. Joe, by the way, remember that hat that you had misplaced?
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, she found it.
Okay.
Yeah, the sign. I don't understand what that sign means, Joe, but
well, that's my hat.
Oh, now that one I get.
Oh, okay.
Sports Center is next.
All right.
Here is a pinch hitter, Mike Mordecai, facing Shawn Barton, and it is ball one, and Jose Oliva is out on deck. 2-0. Somebody has a lead for the first time, and it's the Giants. That's a fastball for a strike from Barton. Mulholland went 6 shutout innings, and then Barton came out of the 7th and got 3 ground ball outs.
Well, Barton doesn't seem like he throws that hard, John, but he has good movement on his fastball. It sinks away from the right-handed hitter.
1-2 the count. Now, there have been 25 Atlanta batters so far tonight, and only 6 of them have been able to hit the ball to the outfield against the Giants. Slider misses. Braves finding it tough going against the left-hander. The Braves are 9-6, or had been, coming into this game, and this game started against them by lefties. High in the air to center. But plenty of room for Darren Lewis. Out number 1. That's only the 7th ball. To the outfield. Now Jose Oliva is coming up. Jose Oliva now. Hit a lot of home runs last year. Had a very fine season in AAA, and then hit a few when he came up to the big leagues in a short period of time.
Well, remember we did the AAA International League playoffs, and we saw a little bit of Oliva.
The Governor's Cup.
Yeah, the Governor's Cup. Well, he has a lot of power. He's a strong individual.
That's a high drive in the right center. Hill and Lewis both there. Lewis out, number 2. Well, now everybody's hitting the ball to the outfield.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have brought it up.
I blame myself.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting into Rod Beck territory, Joe, and Rod Beck, in fact, is up in the Giants bullpen now. 2 down in the 8th inning. There's Big Rod out of the bullpen, one of the outstanding closers in the game. Although he seems to miss his old partner in the bullpen, Mike Jackson.
Yes, he
this
does.
year.
Well, they definitely miss Mike. He was the guy that would get them to Rod Beck all the time.
Although, in fairness to the Giants, if they'd kept Jackson, they still would have been missing him because he's been hurt much of the year with Cincinnati. That's a good fastball at the knees. Called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Grissom has a 1-for-3 game going. He's flying deep to center, singled, and popped to short. This is a spot where they need him to get on base. That's his job. You know, actually, Joe, it's funny. I mean, they were so anxious to get him. And he has lots of skills. He's a great outfielder. But as a leadoff man, I mean, there are certain aspects where he's lacking. I mean, he can steal a base, but his on-base average has always been 4. That is foul into the Atlanta bullpen area.
Actually, I think he performed better when he was hitting third, you know, with Montreal over the years. I mean, he's a good hitter, but I agree with you. He is not your prototype leadoff hitter in that he doesn't take a lot of pitches and he doesn't walk a lot, but he does have speed. And he's a good hitter, so I guess you can put that type of hitter in the leadoff spot.
He's done well when he has not hit leadoff this year.
Right.
But kind of got himself going when they moved him out of the leadoff spot for a while.
And I remember the same thing happening in Montreal. They moved him to third for a while, and he hit very well there.
I thought that was a pretty good trade for Montreal because they got a couple of players for Grissom.
And they were going to lose him before through free agency anyway if wouldn't have been for the lockout or for the strike short of the season.
Well, that is strike 3 called, and Shawn Barton has been perfect as the setup man. We'll probably see Beck next. Now we go to the ninth. The Giants coming up, leading 2-0 over Atlanta.
Looking for adventure?
Let's go, come on!
First Run is the place you'll find some unforgettable characters. See Mowgli, a young man raised by wild animals, and the girl trying to tame him.
Picking it up fast, isn't it?
The action-adventure The Jungle Book. And young Richard enters a fantastic world of literary themes.
Welcome aboard, matey!
Macaulay Culkin in The Page Master, along with The Jungle Book. July on First Run, Garden State Cable's pay-per-view service.
Coming July 9th to TNT.
So that's why I was after you, because you killed your husband?
Not just my husband.
You killed my boy.
A world television premiere. Linda Fiorentino, Craig Sheffer, and Sam Elliott.
I'm gonna put that rope around your neck myself.
The Desperate Trail, Sunday, July 9th on TNT, the best movie studio on television.
It's time again for the test of the best, and ESPN's got the field covered for all the All-Star action. Catch the pregame festivities on All-Star Monday, starting with the Legends of the Game All-Star Classic at 7:30, the Home Run Derby at 9, and Major League Baseball's All-Star Gala at 10:30. ESPN's coverage continues Tuesday, beginning with an All-Star edition of SportsCenter at 6:30, all on ESPN.
John Miller and Joe Morgan, the final game before the All-Star game. 1995, we're in Atlanta. The Giants lead the Braves 2-0. Mike Mordecai stays in the game and plays second base after he hit for Belliard. And the new pitcher for the Braves is the hard-throwing right-hander Mark Wohlers, who has become the Braves' closer. And this guy can throw very, very hard, Joe. Maybe the hardest thrower now in the National League.
Well, they clock him up around 100 miles an hour on occasion. So he throws awfully hard. Good movement on his ball as well.
Those strikeouts, 40 strikeouts in 28 and a third innings. So we'll try to give you some jugs gun readings here to see how hard he's throwing tonight. Kurt Manwaring, the hitter, 1 for 3. Well, that was pretty hard.
97, that's pretty hard.
But I was impressed on that one.
A lot of times, remember, though, if a guy throws the ball up high, you get a faster reading than you will on a ball that's low.
All right, so I'm not impressed at all.
No, don't be as impressed with that one. Let's see if he throws a low one around 99.
Big deal. 1 strike to count.
99. See, that's what we're talking about. Now, that one was impressive.
Were you impressed on that?
I was impressed with that one.
Okay. Yeah. So the low one was even faster than the high one.
Right. He got a better release on that one.
To the count to Manwaring. Benjamin on deck. Giants ahead 2-0. Well, when our gun shows 0-0, that means it was 100 miles an hour. That's the reading we got on the jugs gun.
Okay. Is this a fast gun or slow gun? Is this Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday?
Well, you need a fast gun for a fast pitcher.
Okay.
Man. Okay, Mark. Everyone's been faster than the previous one so far. What are you going to do for an encore, buddy?
Throw a curveball.
Okay, that's enough of that. We've convinced that you're a all-round pitcher. Now let's go back to the gas.
John, I'll tell you a story. Eddie Matthews, the great slugger, you know, who played here in Atlanta, was a teammate of mine my first year in the big leagues. And he said, Joe, I don't care how hard they throw, as long as it doesn't move. He said, I can hit a speeding bullet if it stays straight. So Eddie Matthews would love to hit against Mark Wohlers.
Well, that was another 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and we can see now Manwaring starting to get a little closer.
A little better. Well, the more pitches you see, of course, the better you have a chance to gauge it. There you see what he's done in his last 21 appearances. Not bad.
I remember Jim Fregosi said that, you know, Sam McDowell in the 60s was unhittable. And he says he couldn't hit him. Yeah. But he always knew that when it was 0-2, that McDowell would throw a breaking ball.
Curveball. Yeah.
And he'd wait for that, and then he'd got a hit. He hit 400 against McDowell lifetime. Well, he's getting closer, Joe. Another 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It looks pretty straight, though, to me.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty straight, but if you're throwing 100 miles an hour, it doesn't have time to move too much.
100. 2-2 the count. And Manwaring giving him a pretty good battle here. Wohlers, he's just huge out there. Great big right-hander. Oh, on the outside. Got him looking.
Well, I don't know if that was straight or not, but it sounded like it was straight.
No reason to swing at this one.
Well, you see Javier Lopez set up on the outside corner. Well, you know, when it's coming that fast, it's kind of hard to get the edges or to read the edges if you're the umpire. Very tough.
Yeah, well, maybe it sounded like it was over the corner. Yeah. Here's Benjamin. Whoa.
A little late on that one, huh?
Man. 0-1. Now, Bobby Cox told me before the game tonight that he once faced in the minor league, or he many times faced, Steve Dalkowski.
Yes.
Most people feel he was the hardest thrower who ever lived.
I faced him once.
You did?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he was hard. He was in the Baltimore farm system. Yeah, and I faced him then.
How'd you do?
I went into my tuck and got a walk. He was throwing too hard for me to hit. Same way I hit Nolan Ryan when he first came up.
Why did I even ask?
I just bend a little bit and take a walk.
It's Benjamin 0 for 1 with 2 walks in this game. He hit it. It was 101 miles an hour, and he hit it deep. And Chris caught up to him. Out number 2. 2 men down. Kent Mercker was the starter for the Braves tonight, and he pitched a beauty. 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, 98 total pitches, and of course, still, he has not beaten the Giants in his career. He'll get a no decision here tonight. But talking about Dalkowski, as John Patterson comes up as a pinch hitter for the pitcher Shawn Barton. Cal Ripken Sr. was a catcher in the Orioles farm system. He used to catch Dalkowski. And he swore that at his zenith, at, you know, the hardest he ever threw, that he might have been over 110, 120 miles an hour. He never saw anybody who could throw that hard. said he'd throw a fastball to the knees, and it would end up around the shoulders. He said it just exploded up there, and guys could not even touch it.
He did throw hard. I mean, I don't know how hard. They didn't use guns and stuff or tell us the readings in those days, but I mean, he threw awfully hard.
That's a foul out of play, 98 miles an hour. A changeup. 0-2 the count to Patterson. 2 down in the 9th inning. But Bobby Cox said one day he faced Dolkowski and hit a grand slam against him. And he said he threw him fastball strike 1, fastball strike 2, and he just stuck the bat out in the same spot the next one, and and he nailed it. That is a changeup, and it's a base hit. I don't know, why throw a changeup? I mean, this guy wasn't looking like he was going to slam that 100-mile-an-hour stuff, Joe.
Well, John Patterson is a good fastball hitter, so I guess he figured he was going to bounce that breaking ball. He just didn't throw it in the right spot. Take a look. That is a changeup, or maybe a little slider. It just didn't break very much.
Well, it was at the speed of a lot of guys' fastballs.
Yeah, so it became a hit-me fastball.
2 down, runner at first, and here is... I mean, it was slower, considerably slower than Wohlers' other stuff.
There, you know, if you look at the lineup, there are a few guys in any lineup, not a few, a couple of guys in any lineup that can handle a good fastball. John Patterson handles them well. So does Barry Bonds, Matt Williams.
Darren Lewis, the hitter. 1 for 4. That's a slider, and it's low for ball 1.
Maybe he's tired.
Well, all that 100-mile-an-hour cheese wore him out, Joe. Become an off-speed pitcher now. In that All-Star game, by the way, it sounds like, I guess, Apier is going to start for the American League against Nomo. And I was kind of hoping for Randy Johnson versus Nomo. And there's your 2 Major League strikeout leaders. I mean, that would be exciting to see him go head-to-head.
Yeah, but Apier's had such a fantastic season. And David Wells, too. They had a lot of candidates, I think, in the American League.
Yeah. Oh, I have no problem with it.
Oh, yeah, they had a lot of good...
I just, as a fan, would like to have seen... My ideal matchup would be Johnson versus Nomo for a couple of innings. Or 9 innings.
9, huh?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's what happens. You throw a lot of breaking balls, you can't get your fastball back. That was only 96 miles an hour.
What's happened to him, Joe?
Yeah.
It's not the Mark Wohlers I remember. Well, you know, this guy has been the closer of the future for years. And it's never happened. He's never been able to do it consistently, and was not given the job at the start of this year. But he's sort of grown into it. And at this point, he is the closer. And it would be very exciting for Atlanta fans if he was truly ready to be the closer now from now on, because, I mean, he's impressive. Got a real smooth delivery. You know, when I think of the real hard throwers, I remember Goose Gossage.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like steam coming out of his ears out there. You know, and he had that mustache. And when he threw it, I mean, his body looked like he was throwing as hard as he could.
Well, you're right. There was energy that you could see coming from Goose. But the slower your delivery, the better the pop you get on the fastball and the more deceptive your pitch is.
1-2. Pop foul and back out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-0, the Giants ahead. We're in the top of the 9th inning. 2 down. The Braves will have one last shot against the Giants. It'll be Rod Beck. It'll be Jeff Blauser, then Chipper Jones and Fred McGriff. And if anybody gets on, Dave Justice would get a shot at it. So this one is far from being over.
Well, if you're Rod Beck, you want to make sure that you get the first 2 hitters out. That should be his real concern, because you do not want to face McGriff and Justice in this situation, although Chipper Jones leads the team in home runs. So,
pitch out. Threw a pitch out at 90 miles an hour. 2-2. Well, if he can get to McGriff with nobody on, I mean, he can't even
exactly. That's what you want. So the first 2 hitters, meaning Chipper Jones and Blauser, and especially Chipper Jones, because Chipper has not seen much of Rod Beck.
2-2, 2 down. That one missed badly. Full count, 3-2. On deck is Robbie Thompson. Fred McGriff steps over from first base, gets the attention of Wohlers, and gives him that crossed arm signal that indicates he will no longer be playing on the bag with the runner, John Patterson. McGriff moving back behind the runner now.
John, you see what happens when a pitcher goes into the stretch. He loses 3 or 4 miles an hour off his fastball, as we've seen here with Wohlers. He went from 100 down to 96 miles an hour.
Patterson runs. Fastball foul down the right field line.
And he got that one up to 98. So, but you're always going to lose a little bit from the stretch. That's why I've always been kind of mystified about why a lot of pitchers throw from the stretch when they come in. I can understand if you're a closer or you're someone who pitches in the 8th or 9th inning and you're always going to have some people on base or you think about it. But normally if you come in, you're better off going from a windup.
3-2. Patterson takes off. To the right side and through, base hit. Patterson will go to third. Well, Darren Lewis battled it out, and he got himself a base hit. That pitch 94 miles an hour, Joe. Maybe that's the slowest fastball that he's thrown.
Well, it's good hitting here by Lewis, and maybe a little bad positioning by the Braves because Lewis hits the ball that way anyway. And with Wohlers throwing, you would think that he would not be able to pull it, just move a little bit more towards right field. But good hitting there by Lewis to keep himself alive.
Well, this is a big batter now for Wohlers because if he can end the inning here, it's just 2-0. And the Braves take their best shot in the bottom of the ninth. But if he doesn't get Thompson, he's got to face Barry Bonds. There goes the runner from first, and I'd say Robbie was overmatched on that one. 99 miles an hour we got.
And you could also know in your mind that they were not going to throw to second base and allow the Giants even an opportunity to have a double steal. They would rather face Robbie Thompson, who has not hit well this year.
Stolen base for Lewis is 18th. Runners at second and third with 2 down. 0-1 to Robbie Thompson. He's 0 for 3 in the game with a sacrifice bunt. And that 95-mile-an-hour fastball misses, and it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, he does not have to work from the stretch here.
That's what I mean. I don't understand it, but a lot of pitchers will continue to do that. And when it was very obvious the first 2 hitters in this inning when he had the 100-mile-an-hour fastball going.
The Atlanta bullpen is busy now. With Barry Bonds on deck, they've got a left-hander up in the bullpen. There's Leo Mazzoni. Looks a little frustrated. There's Pedro Borbon, the left-hander in the bullpen. Brad Clance, the right-hander. It is 1 ball and 1 strike to Robbie Thompson. Well, this is the one downside for Mark Wohlers is that his control and consistency have not always been there.
And that Pedro Borbon you saw in the bullpen is the son of former Reds pitcher Pedro Borbon, not the replacement Borbon, but the former Reds pitcher Pedro Borbon. They're not the same.
Thanks for explaining that. And it's 1-2 to Robbie Thompson. That was 99 miles an hour. By the way, I guess when I was talking about Wohlers saying his consistency was not always there, I guess that would be sort of, you would go without saying that. He's either consistent or he's not.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just making a joke. That is Pedro Borbon's son.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
All right. We have a confirmation on that now.
We have a confirmation on that.
2-2 the count.
Good kid. He was also hanging out in the locker room with the Griffeys and Ken Griffey Jr. and Pete Rose Jr., Brian McRae. All of them were hanging out in the clubhouse with the Reds.
Runners at second and third for the Giants. The Giants already leading 2-0. Patterson at third, Lewis at second. 2-2 the count. Strike 3 call. The 99-mile-an-hour heat on the outside corner. So Barry Bonds will not get a shot at it here in the 9th inning. A long night for Robbie Thompson. A long season for Robbie already. The slump continues. Blauser, Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff coming up. We'll see. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, and we have come to the last of the 9th inning. It is 2-0 for the Giants. J.R. Phillips now playing first base, and Rod Beck now pitching. Jeff Blauser leads it off, and he takes ball 1. He showed bunt on that one. Rod Beck, he's the big closer for the Giants, and who can forget the heroic performances of Beck in the stretch run of that great 1993 pennant race between the Giants and these Braves. In there for a strike. 1-1. Now Beck has become mortal this year.
Yes, you're right.
He's blown a couple of saves. 15 saves, 2.51 ERA.
But he is still one of the top closers in Major League Baseball, and a guy that you feel safe having on the mound with a 2-0 lead, no matter which team you're facing. The Giants have confidence that he can get the job done.
Beck with 15 saves, but 4 blown saves. Well, he's in trouble immediately. It's 3-1 to Blauser.
This is definitely not the way you want to start, because Blauser's hitting .229 at the beginning of tonight's game. He's 0 for 3. So of all the people in this 9th inning, this is the guy you want to make hit the ball.
Chipper Jones on deck. Whoa, not even close. The Braves have won 8 in a row, and they seem intent upon not going quietly into this night either. Remember, so many of their victories have come right at the end. Stay tuned now, right after the ball game. Sports Center coming up next. Grand Slam Day. Mo Vaughn, the conversation. Pete Sampras at Wimbledon. Linda Cohn and Craig Kilborn. Sorry, Craig. I think we had it misspelled here. Batter is Chipper Jones, now batting left-handed, and this is his strong side. All of his homers except for one have been hit left-handed.
The second pitch that Rod Beck threw this inning looked like the Rod Beck that I've seen often. Good fastball. The other fastballs do not seem to have a good pop on them. And that's why he's high. That's probably why he's releasing the ball too high. But not the same fastball that I've seen from Rod Beck this year.
This doesn't look right.
No, he doesn't.
Well, you got Chipper Jones, 3 9th-inning homers to win games already this year in his rookie season. Then after him, you got McGriff and Justice.
But, John, the good thing that Beck has, he can go to another pitch, which is the splitter.
Fastball a strike. 2-1. So Beck having to run the Atlanta Braves gauntlet here in the 9th inning. Braves have only been shut out 1 time this year. They have been shut out tonight for 8 innings. Into right center. Lewis went back in the ball. It bounced just in front of him. Base hit. He played it safe.
Well, it might have looked like that way, John, but that ball was hit so hard, I don't think Darren Lewis could get a bead on it quick enough, and he did play it safe, and that's the best way to play it. You're ahead by 2 runs, and you do not want to come in and let this ball bounce past you and let the tying run get into scoring position, maybe all the way to third for a triple. So the best way to play that was to hold him to a single. But I tell you what, that was one of the hardest line drives I've seen in a long time.
2 men on, nobody out, and here is Fred McGriff. The 4th ball, strike 1.
And that we saw Myers do this the other day. He was not getting people out with his fastball. He went to the breaking ball. And I think that's what you're going to see here from Rod Beck. He's going to use the breaking ball to set up his fastball. He usually uses the fastball to set up his forkball. He's going to pitch opposite. Yeah.
Same 1, strike 2.
And that's smart. I mean, but you have to have more than 1 pitch to be a good closer. And Randy Myers in Chicago has more than 1 pitch. He went to the breaking ball from his fastball. Now we see Rod Beck doing the same thing.
So Myers last Sunday, Wrigley Field on Sunday Night Baseball, now back in Atlanta just before the All-Star game. Now McGriff lays off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dave Justice is on deck. McGriff is 2 for 3 in this game.
At one point here, Beck will decide, and maybe this is the pitch, that he will try to get the fastball by McGriff up.
High in the air, deep to center. Lewis back, still back. The Braves have won the game. time in the last 5 games, the Atlanta Braves have won in the bottom of the 9th inning. This time they were trailing, and Fred McGriff got that high fastball, and you predicted, Joe.
Over the center field wall, and Freddie McGriff knows it's gone. Lewis did not think it was gone, but it hits the back wall, so just an amazing comeback, but that's when a team is hot. They get the right people up at the right situation, and Freddie McGriff, that's why they call him the crime dog.
He's heading for the All-Star game now on that swing of the bat. This is the reaction in the dugout. They thought it was going to head out of here. And McGriff flashing back to last year's All-Star game against Lee Smith for the National League. And he hit it to almost the same spot in the All-Star game as he hit the one tonight. What a finish. And the Braves have won 9 in a row, and they look like they're headed straight for October. The final from Atlanta, the Braves 3, the Giants 2. Stay tuned. SportsCenter is next. Next Sunday night, we'll be at Fenway Park with the Rangers and the Red Sox, 8 Eastern. John Miller for Joe Morgan. Thanks for joining us. Good night from Atlanta. The Braves have done it again.
Boston catcher Mike McFarland thinks pitcher Tim Wakefield should be in the All-Star game. I think he should be the starter with the ERA he has. He's been the league's dominant pitcher in the first half, says McFarland. On June 9th, Wakefield flirted with a no-hitter versus Oakland. Sunday, the knuckleballer went after the Twins, who started newly acquired Frankie Rodriguez. Top of 3 no score. Frankie relaxed. Don't do it. Oh, in the dirt. Bases juiced. McFarland easily scores from third. Red Sox lead 1-zip. After O'Leary's sac fly made it 2-zip, the next batter, Mo Vaughn, and that's a ground rule double for Mr. Sunday Night Conversation. Willie McGee scores 3-zip Sox. That prompted a call to Eddie Guardado. Tom Kelly comforts the young Frankie. Another pitcher making his Twin debut, Scott Klingbeck from the Erickson trade. And Juan Bell, you betcha, first of the season, 4-0 Sox after 5. And TK is concerned about his new pitching staff. Tim Wakefield, though, was baffling Minnesota batters versus Scott Leyes. And check out the rotation on this thing. In the 5th, Wake gets Chip Hale to ground out to first. Wakefield with a no-hitter through 5. After Wakefield walked Rich Becker in the 6th, the fundamentally sound Chuck Knobloch. Grounder hits the mound, bounces right to shortstop John Valentin, steps on second, throws to first for the double play. Still an 0-0 after 6. Kevin Kennedy relaxing and kicked back. Wakefield carrying the no-hitter in the 8th. First batter, Jeff Rebelway, breaks up the no-no. Second time this season, Wakefield carried a no-hitter in the 8th. The Sox win it. Kirby Puckett, who is starting in the All-Star game, was impressed with Wakefield. It's not how hard you throw, it's where you throw it, said Puckett. His pitches were dancing all over the place. Beautiful point, Kirby. The essence of the game is deception. The 28-year-old Wakefield spent last year in the minors, but in his last 12 major league starts, he's 9-1. That includes 2 starts in September of '93 with Pittsburgh. Wake is 7-1 this year with a league-best 1.61 ERA in 4 complete games. O's and the White Sox. Scotty Erickson making his debut at Baltimore. His teammates helped out in the 1st. Harold Baines off Alex Fernandez, a 3-run homer, 4-0 Orioles. Top of the 2nd, still 4-zip. And it's a man named Brady. Flies to right, Dave Martinez, do the dance, make the glove, get down. Top of 3, 5-zip O's. Jeffrey Hammonds just past Ozzie Guillen. Callen to score. Harry going to score. Jeff Houston thrown out at 3rd, but it's 7-0 Orioles. Erickson pitched 6 innings in his debut, facing Ray Durham. He struck him out, and then he gets Frank Thomas. Erickson gets the win as Baltimore rolls 11-2. The O's sweep the 4-game series with the White Sox and go to the break 6 games behind Boston in the AL East. It's Baltimore's first 4-game sweep in Chicago since June of 1969. Erickson gave up 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks with 2 strikeouts in his debut. Also, the O's released Sid Fernandez on Sunday.
With a 4-game lead in the NL West, the Colorado Rockies had already assured themselves they'd be in first place by the All-Star break in just their 3rd year of existence. The Rockies left it up to Marvin Freeman to complete the sweep of Montreal and stretch their winning streak to 5 games. Freeman was in danger of being moved to the pen if he did not come up big on this day. He got Mike Lansing. Joe Girardi nails David Segui. 21 straight bases were stolen on Girardi until today. Freeman showing more control in the 5th. Look at the spin on this breaking ball. It fools Shane Andrews. 7 innings pitched for Freeman, no earned runs. His teammates provided the run support off Pedro Martinez. Run support, Colorado? Of course. Dante Bichette launches this one. His 13th home run of the year, 2-0 Rockies. Bichette hitting a changeup. Martinez said he threw him a change in the third and got him out. Didn't work this time. Larry Walker following Bichette. You know that's gone. Walker knows it's gone. His 20th of the year, 3-0 Colorado. Martinez obviously upset. Next up, the big cat, Andres Galarraga. You think he was going to go yard? Not if Martinez can help it with some high heat. Galarraga wasn't hit, though. Don Baylor, guy who's been hit over his career, not happy about it. But he was happy about that. 4-1 the final. After the Rockies put the finishing touch on the 4-game sweep, Montreal skipper Felipe Alou said, "We didn't give them the 4 games. We were overmatched." When Bichette and Walker went back-to-back, by the way, it marked the 6th time during the 7-game homestand the Rockies had hit consecutive home runs. Take a look at what the Rockies have done over the last 10 games alone. They've gone 8-2 thanks to the power of this trio. All 3 hitting over 300 and combining for 40 RBIs during that span. Overall, during the 10-game stretch, Colorado has hit 22 homers and scored 76 runs. One team trying to keep pace, the Dodgers facing Pete Shurik and the Reds. Boy, Shurik had his stuff going early and often. Top of the first against Eric Karras, no way. Shurik struck out 6. Raul Mondesi, one of his victims. Bottom third, Barry Larkin on second, Reggie Sanders facing Ishmael Valdez, and Sanders likes this pitch. The 15th homer for the All-Star, 3-0 Red. Shurik remained tough against Mike Piazza. Piazza's hit streak ends at 6 games. Then he freezes Karras again. Shurik scattered 5 hits through 7. Sanders now, more offense. Bottom 4, bases loaded for him. Just a slight tap. It's a blooper. And you bet it's good enough to drop in. That brought home Shurik and Thomas Howard. 4 RBI for Sanders. That ties a career high. 8-0 the final. The Dodgers shut out for the 9th time. That's tops in the National League. L.A. has lost 9 of 12 overall. As for All-Star Reggie Sanders, he's now driven in a team-high 56 runs. That's 6 shy of the total he had last season. The Astros looking to stay within 4 of Cincy in the Central. Darryl Kyle on the mound against the Padres. First inning, 2-on, no out, Tony Gwynn.
Right field with distance.
That's gone. His 6th of the year for Gwynn. 3-0 San Diego. One bright moment for the Astros still in the first, Eddie Williams. The shot to right. Watch Derek Bell. Not only great at the plate, look at that defense. It's worth another look. Derek Bell appeared hurt, but he stayed in the game. Andy Ashby retiring 20 of the first 22 batters he faced. He credits his concentration. He also kept the ball down. That line, you know, that's where the belt is. He kept it under that. 13 of Ashby's 22 outs came on either grounders or strikeouts. Top of the 7th, 3-0 Pods, bases loaded, Eddie Williams. Greeting reliever Doug Brocail. Yeah, that's gone. A grand slam for Williams, the 2nd of his career. This one was easy for San Diego. 9-2 the final. They did, and they avoided the 5-game sweep. Ashby improves to 6-5. You know, this is the first time in his major league career Andy Ashby has been above 500 this late in the season. Darryl Kyle, he's now 0-7 at the Astrodome. The Astros now 5 games back of the NL Central leading Reds.
So ahead, the Sunday conversation with Mo Vaughn. What would Boston fans do? The Red Sox finally won it all.
They tear the city down. They have to build a whole new city. I want to be there for that.
Also, there are a number of guys who could be all-stars. Count Tino among them. Mark was an all-star before getting knocked out. We'll check in with the A's and the Jays, and Gibby still going hard after all these slides. The Tigers are winning. You are experiencing Sports Center.
If you ask the greatest hockey players, which goal they remember most,
With a backhand. It's all over!
they'll tell you it's not one they scored. It's one they reached.
Saturday was a wild doubleheader between the A's and Blue Jays, starting in Game 1 when pitcher David Cone clobbered Mark McGwire in the head with a fastball. McGwire left the game with a mild concussion and now will not play in the All-Star game because he can't fly with a concussion. Cone said, "No way in the world I was trying to throw at McGwire." A's manager Tony La Russa disagreed, saying Cone has a reputation for cheap shots, and that was a gutless cheap shot. La Russa also got into it with Joe Carter, who was hit by an A's pitcher after the McGwire incident. Carter, quote, "La Russa sits back over there like the genius manager he is and orders his pitcher to throw at me." La Russa, quote, "He's going to equate a little pop in the butt to a guy with a concussion. Ridiculous." And with that, it's the A's and Blue Jays on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Oakland. And is Ron Darling still going to be wild on the first bases juice? Ronnie walks the talented toothpick John Oru. Debo scores 1-0 Jays. Next batter Ed Sprague. Darling wild. Steiny chases, throws to Darling, but Molitor is safe, and it's 2-0 Jays. Bottom of the second, Jays leading 4-zip. Pat Hankin pitching. Brent Gates the shot to left. Here comes Joe Carter with the supple leather. Bottom of the fourth, Jays leading 4-1. It was all Hankin needed against Brent Gates. Terry Steinbach.
Big curveball.
Jays win it 7-3. Pat Hankin is not going to the All-Star game for the first time in 3 years, but he's an All-Star against the A's. 2-0 with a .57 ERA. Against the rest of the league, he's 4-6 with a 6.97 ERA. Royals and the Tigers. Royals defense keeping them in the game. Scott Fletcher the drive to left. We always see Tom Goodwin tracking it down. He does it again. Philippe Lira, another good outing. Strikes out John Nunnally, and that was a forkball. Wally Joyner looking at heat. And Bobby Hamlin, that's a slider. Lira shut out through 6 innings. Top of the 7th, 3-0 Tigers, 2 men on. Brian Bohannon relieves Lira. Edgar Caceres hits a double to deep right center. Joyner and Hamlin going to score. It's a 3-2 game.
Joyner scores easily. Here comes the hammer chugging.
The hammer is chugging, isn't he? Bottom of the 8th, Tigers get an insurance run. This is fun. Franklin Stubbs lofts a fly ball to left, and Gibby is going to tag. Pat Porter's going to get bowled over by Gibby. And that's simply Gibby being Gibby, and he wants the Hulkster next. Tigers win it. Lira gets his 5th win in 7 starts. At one point, he retired 11 straight batters. Not bad for a guy Sparky Anderson said made the team only because rosters were expanded to 28 players coming out of spring training. Linda.
With the Cleveland Indians owning a 12-game lead in the American League Central, it gets you thinking to the last team that had that large a lead entering the All-Star break. That team, the '86 New York Mets, who went on to win a world championship. The Tribe up against a Mariners club which had lost 5 of 6 to Jake, where Oral Hershiser right off the DL looked strong his first 3 innings. Here's an example. The quick glove on the Tino Martinez grounder for the putout. Control problems set in the 4th for Hershiser, walking Edgar Martinez. He does the same to Tino Martinez. That brings up Jay Buhner. Buhner with 10 homers coming in, all against righties, make it 11. This one, a 3-run home run for Jay Buhner. It was a rough day for Hershiser. He blamed it on rustiness. He was out after 5. Good outing for Salomon Torres in the 4th. Wayne Kirby's grounder mishandled by Luis Sojo, but Paul Sorrento, he overruns 3rd. He got gunned down. Top of the 7th, 5-3 M's, runners on 2nd and 3rd. Bud Black intentionally walks Edgar Martinez, and Tino Martinez takes offense to that. Take that, Bud Black. Tino Martinez with his 2nd career grand slam. 9-3 Mariners, the final. For Cleveland, it was just their 4th loss in the last 14 games. They still enter the break with the best record in the majors at 46-21. It's also the best in franchise history. On the Indians, Mariners manager Lou Piniella said, "They're good, but they can be beat. We proved it." Well, the guy who should replace Mark McGwire in the All-Star game, Seattle's Tino Martinez. Among first basemen, he ranks 3rd in the league in hitting with a .299 average. 3rd in the league in RBIs with 58 in just 69 games. And throw in the 18 homers. Despite Tino's stats, the popular vote could go to Detroit's Cecil Fielder, a player who has been looked over before. Brewers and Angels, Chuck Finley in trouble early. First inning, already 2-0. Brewers bases loaded. Matt Niesky with a grand slam off Finley, his first ever grand slam. It was 6-0 Brew Crew after 1. Bases loaded again in the 3rd. Jeff Cirillo, the opposite, drops it in for a double. Niesky and Holt score. Jose Valentino thrown out at home. Finley gave up 8 runs in 3 innings, but the Angels' bats would heat up. Perhaps the most surprising player in the AL this year, Jim Edmonds with 2 on. Goes deep off Bill Wegman. Edmonds' 13th homer of the year. The Angels were suddenly within 2. Next batter, Rex Hudler. You bet. Hudler goes deep as well. Hudler, his 3rd of the year, back-to-back off Wegman. 8-7 Brewers. But it was 9-7 Milwaukee. Bottom of the 9th, 1 on for J.T. Snow. Snow ending the threat just like that with a 4-6-3 double play. Brewers win it. 9-7. Kevin Seitzer contributing with 2 hits, 2 RBI. Greg Vaughn did strike out 4 times in this game. Great game for Tony Phillips, though. 3 hits, 3 runs scored for the Angels. And this was the 4th time in 14 starts Chuck Finley has allowed more than 4 earned runs. Greg?
This Tuesday afternoon, a few hours before the All-Star game and not too far from the All-Star game in Arlington, baseball legend Mickey Mantle will make his first public appearance since undergoing a liver transplant. Mantle will hold a press conference at Baylor University Hospital in Texas. The 63-year-old has been in seclusion recuperating since being released from the hospital on June 28th. Linda. We're going a full hour. Coming up, the pressure of being a closer. Rod Beck on the hot seat versus the Braves. San Francisco trying to snap Atlanta's win streak at 8. Also ahead, we'll follow Miguel Indurain, Tour de France. And try to foul the ball in Arlington. You won't be seeing this Tuesday at the All-Star game, but it happened in the Ranger game.
2 of LA's straightest cops.
I gotta get a bikini wax.
Yeah. Just stop telling me about that disgusting female stuff.
Are going undercover to the last place on Earth they should ever go.
Ow!
They're out of place.
Hey! No painting after 2 a.m.
And in the middle of the strangest case of their lives.
Copper!
I don't have any cuffs.
We're the only 2 people on this island without handcuffs.
Exit to Eden.
How can I fulfill your fantasy?
Go paint my house.
Rated R.
It's a game. I just love the game. You know, I guess it's something like you get addicted to it. I ain't lying. Just like a guy gets to playing, never play golf and go out and play around and hey, man, he hooked.
The Tour de France continues tonight at 12:30 on ESPN.
Way back and gone. Gone. Facing Warren Bond, deep to left field, way back there, home run, Lou
The big leaguers are off Monday, except the ones on ESPN. The network has the Upper Deck Heroes, the Home Run Derby, and a roundtable discussion with Nolan Ryan and Tony Gwynn. All the action starts at 7:30 Eastern.
It was hot, it was sloppy, and it was a game that took place at the same side of Tuesday's All-Star game, the ballpark at Arlington. The Yankees and Texas played in temps that reached 102 degrees. Now you know why this was the Rangers' first afternoon home game in July since 1988. The schedule adjustment was due, of course, to the Midsummer Classic. To the ballpark we go. Jeff Fry, Rangers second baseman feeling the heat, drops Mike Pagliarulo's relay E4. Tony Fernandez hits into the double play. Right, wrong. Fry takes the flip, throws wide at first. E4. Fry, more trouble. Can't handle the grounder. E4, Johnny Outs can't believe what he's seeing. Top of the 7th, Kevin Gross, bases loaded, facing Wade Boggs, who is pinch hitting. The 3-2 pitch, ball 4. Walks him, walks home. Gerald Williams for the go-ahead run, 4-3 Yanks. Bottom 8, same score. Mickey Tettleton batting lefty against Bob Wickman, and Tettleton goes deep for his 200th home run in his career, which tied at 4. On to extra innings. Same score. Mark McLemore on first. Rusty Greer, the bunt in the air. Steve Howe pulls his glove back, doesn't make the catch, throws to first. McLemore, he's safe at second. 2 batters later, Mickey Tettleton, batting righty this time, smacks the ball right by Tony Fernandez. McLemore rounding third. The throw home, off the mark. That's how the Rangers won it, 5-4 in 12 innings, beating the Yankees. The win, coupled with the Angels' loss, moved the Rangers back into a tie for first in the AL West. The Yanks just couldn't capitalize on the Rangers' 6 errors. They left 15 on base, and they dropped 8 games behind Boston in the AL East. In the words of Texas manager Johnny Oates, I think they lost it more than we won it.
While most of the teams look forward to the All-Star break, it's understandable if the Atlanta Braves aren't. They don't want an interruption. The Braves have won 8 straight heading into Sunday, their longest winning streak this year, and they've jumped into first place in the NL East. They just want to keep playing, unless, of course, their streak ends against the Giants Sunday. Then, sure, they'll take a break. Bottom of the 6th, Fred McGriff on first. Terry Mulholland's first pitch. Actually, one of his pitches away from Kurt Manwaring. Plays the bounce. McGriff's out at second. Mulholland gets out of the jam. Top of the 7th, no score. Giants have the bases juiced. They pinch hit for Mulholland. Record finita. Yeah! You got to swing the bat, man. Still 0-0 the 8th. Greg McMichael facing Mark Carreon with a man on and spank. Baseball's special moment. Giants lead 2-zip. Bottom of the 9th, 2-on for the Braves.
High in the air, deep to center. Lewis back, still back. The Braves have won the game.
Freddie McGriff wins it in the bottom of the 9th. He goes 3 for 4, his 11th homer this year, 3 RBIs. The Giants left 9 men on bases. Rod Beck has 5 blown saves in 20 chances this year. The Cubs and the Phillies. 9th inning, 6-3 Phils, bases juiced, 1 out, Ray Sanchez.
Simmons, 1 out, and the 1-0 delivery.
Goes the other way, and that's a double. 2 runs come in, cuts the lead to 1 run. Cubs would tie it up. Sanchez 4 for 6 with 4 ribbies. 12th inning, 6-6, bases loaded. Cubs bring Brian McRae in for a 5th infielder. Turk Wendell gets Dave Gallagher to bounce in the 1-2-3 double play. Cubs get out of the inning. Catcher Scott Service is injured on the play, and check it out. Darren Dalton comes down the line, takes Service out at the plate. Was it a little late? Service would lead the game with at least a sprained left knee before the 13th inning. Cubs first base coach Don Radisson and Jim Fregosi have words about the Dalton Service collision. In the 13th, All-Star 340 hitter Mark Grace checking the signs with 2 men on, no outs. Grace asked to lay down the sacrifice bunt. He's a team player. Runners now both in scoring position. 2 batters later, Todd Zeal, fly ball to center. Deep enough to score McRae. Hey, the Cubs win. The Cubs go into the break on a 4-game winning streak. Catcher Scott Service has a sprained knee and will be examined Monday in Chicago. Asked if he thought the play was dirty, Service said, "I don't want to get into it. Darren's a hard-nosed player." Linda.
Welcome back. This week's Plays of the Week is not wasted on the young. It's dedicated to the young, to the children. But you won't be seeing Jason Kidd, Steve Young, or Babe Ruth.
No Pee Wee Reese, Randolph Childress, or Wee Willie Keeler. But for all you little clean-cut kids, we present Plays of the Week.
Craig, wouldn't it be great to be young and crazy again?
Oh, I don't know, Linda. I went through that awkward stage.
Don't you wish we could go back, turn things around, and be kids again? Oh, I was such a good baby.
Oh, baby, what a catch! Oh, I was a problem child. I think I was dropped on my head.
Ow! Right on the coconut.
And sometimes people even called me a... No matter what, I couldn't get away from it.
I kept my eyes on everything. Whee!
Tony Gwynn, what a great catch!
Oh, he makes a play like that about every night.
I was just a little Sparky who liked to play games, like Twister. Right hand blue.
What about red light, green light?
I always got the red light.
You weren't very good at dodgeball, were you?
Oh. I had trouble just playing catch. Do-over, do-over.
I used to love playing with the other kids.
The diving Eric Young does it again.
I guess I was just a little quirky. But sometimes I would venture out in a different direction. That's when I amazed myself.
I'm glad we're friends and we get to pal around together.
That'll make ESPN Sports Center tonight.
Yeah, but get a load of those two.
Plays of the Week is brought to you by Isuzu, makers of incredible four-wheel drives.
Craig, pass the pacifier and Blanky, will you please? Still to come on Sports Center, more Grand Slams from very unlikely people. You'll see what we mean. And the Pirates slide into the break on an up note. Stay tuned.
There's a certain romance and rhythm of the game of baseball, a syncopation to our pastime that is unfortunately lost on our young people and on the New York Mets. While baseball tries to sell its game to young America, Mets skipper Dallas Green tries to sell it to his team. The Mets must have short attention spans. They're heading to the break with a 25-44 record against the Pirates on Sunday. Esteban Loaiza delivers to Todd Hundley. Third-tier shot, 12th homer of the year for Hundley. Mets lead 2-1. 2-1 Mets in the third. Dave Clark liner to center field. Brett Butler motors and catches. 3-2 Mets. Jay Bell in the fifth. Saberhagen. Well hit and gone, fifth of the year. We're knotted at 3. Bottom of the sixth. Jeff King on first base. Saberhagen to Orlando Merced. That's a base knock. But Brett Butler, watch Brett. Jeff King scores and makes it 4-3. Pirates will win 6-3. Rookie Esteban Loaiza throws his first Major League complete game. He's won 5 of 6 and has lowered his ERA from 9.15 on May 18th down to 5.12. Marlins win. Tommy Gregg hits his first career Grand Slam. Mark Gardner has his second strong game in a row as a Florida starter, replacing the injured David Weathers. Linda. Coming up, Mo Vaughn helping the Red Sox on the field and the children off the field.
The reason why I get involved with them now is because I got to give them some light, shine some light on them, and let them know that you know, I understand where they're coming from.
The Yankees are looking to come out swinging after the All-Star break. But will the Bronx Bombers still be dancing in October? Only if their pitching holds up. Out in KC, Vince Coleman's found his stroke, and the Royals are thinking wild card. Buck and the Yanks take on the Royals at the stadium. Wednesday Night Baseball, this week on ESPN.
Sunday Conversation is brought to you by Sprint Business. We help business do more business.
Since the strike damaged the national pastime, we've been hearing how the game of baseball needs to depend on its personalities to pull it out of its doldrums so it can return to prominence. Right up there on the list of baseball's best personalities is Boston's Mo Vaughn, on his way to the All-Star game in a season which has featured career highs personally and high hopes for a pennant-hungry Red Sox team. Our Peter Gammons had a chance to sit down with the league's RBI leader, Mo Vaughn.
There's another one by
Now, this is your first time going to the All-Star game. Have you thought back at all about the first couple of years when you had to go through struggles to get where you are now?
I think about it every day. After that 91 and 92 seasons, you know, and I think, you know, I really learned to go out and focus, you know, on doing my job, you know, while I was at the ballpark. And I think, you know, I learned that from Hitman, and it helped me with my entire life. But I think everybody learns off the negative things, and it makes them a better person. And it's something that really I'm going to carry through my entire career, because that was fear. What it is now is fear of failure. And that's what makes me go out and keep pushing.
When you left spring training this year, left Fort Myers, did you have any idea what this team was going to be like?
Honestly, no, I didn't. I don't think the Red Sox gelled at all in spring training. I don't think we played well. And I think we had a lot of natural talent. I didn't think we were going to come together as a ball club as much as we have. I think it was a situation where we had so many talented guys, unknown people too, that we weren't going to get ready until it really counted. And when that happened, it just all came together.
You grew up in Connecticut, closer to New York than Boston. When you got drafted by the Red Sox, were you wary at all of going and playing in Boston?
I really didn't know much about the Red Sox, because when I grew up, they had Reggie, Chambliss, Randolph, Nettles, Dent, Munson. You know, they had a bomb squad, and I was a Yankee fan, really, a Reggie Jackson fan. And So I really didn't, you know, I knew of Jim Rice. You know, I had a picture of Jim Rice up because he just could hit, you know, he could really hit. But when I got to Boston, I had no idea of the New England fan support. I had no idea of the craziness and the baseball and the love for baseball they have in Boston until I really got in there, and I was shocked.
When you got to the major leagues, had you made yourself a promise that you were going to go out and do things for other people?
I didn't really make that promise in terms of I'm going to go out and get involved with these kids if I get to Boston. I started doing little PR things with the Pawtucket Red Sox. Kids nowadays are being misguided. They're not being listened to. They're being given up on. If you don't come from, you know, if you're not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, then you can't make it. I hear that all the time. It's something where the reason why I get involved with them now is because I got to give them some light.
When you're out there on the streets, and I know you go on the streets of Boston and go over in Roxbury and Mattapan and those areas, what are the toughest questions you get from kids? What's the toughest thing for you to answer?
The kids ask me, you know, you can talk about going to school, you can talk about doing the right thing, but look at you. You know, you live in large and you know, you got your money, you got your cars, you got, you know, a nice place to stay. You know, how can you tell us about going that route, you know, about going to school and you haven't even finished college yet, and you're making money playing ball? And I tell them, I said, look, you know, whatever I've gotten in life, I've had to work for, I've had to take, or whatever. I said, you know, I chose to do the right thing. I chose to go out here and spend my time playing baseball, and you have to make a choice too.
What would it be like if the Red Sox ever won it all?
Oh, man. They'd tear the city down. They'd have to build a whole new city. I want to be there for that. You know, I think we can do that. I think that we come in, you know, getting ourselves in a proposition to do that, but I just don't know what would happen. But I think it would be the greatest day in Boston sports, you know, for that to happen, and we shooting for it.
Coming up on baseball tonight, All-Star fever grips the game at the site, at Busch, even a mile high. But Wakefield waffles the Twins into air-conditioned discomfort, while Frankie inflames a former teammate. But Erickson escapes the dome for the outdoor Orioles. Derek Bell gets some burns. Reggie readies for the home run derby, and Buck acclimates to Arlington, but will have to add a McGuire replacement. The sun was definitely a factor, but the stars align for a grand slam of slams. We always give 100% on baseball tonight. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday edition of Baseball Tonight. Along with Roy Smalley, I'm Gary Miller. On the final day of play before the All-Star break, a day of 4 grand slams. Roy, this has been a first half like no other. Hopefully like no other will ever be again. The delayed, shortened season, even the typical, has been atypical, like 2 traded pitchers, both making their debuts with new teams on Sunday.
On the same day, Frankie Rodriguez and Scott Erickson. For one, it was business as usual. For the other, what a difference a trade makes.
Yeah, let's see how the adjustment went. In his first game as a Red Sox reliever, Rick Aguilera was called on to save the Sox at the expense of his former Twins. Today, the roles were reversed. The main man Minnesota got in the move, Frankie Rodriguez, was forced to face his former team because scheduled starter Scott Erickson was now with Baltimore. First to the Metrodome. And Frankie on the mound. Is he ready for the majors? Wasn't ready to face Troy O'Leary. That one's all the way in the dugout. The wild pitch scores McFarland with the first run of the game. After O'Leary sacked in another run, 2-0, Mo Vaughn the other way. Frankie would rather have him as a teammate. The ground rule double brings home Willie McGee, and they've already got Eddie Guardado up in the bullpen. Tom Kelly says that's all right, but Frankie could be headed to AAA for more seasoning. Scott Klingenbeck, who was acquired from Erickson, gets acquainted with Juan Bell. Took his first pitch for his first hit of the season, and it's out of the Metrodome. 4-0 Sox after 5. Tom Kelly knows it's going to be a long second half. Meanwhile, the frustration was mostly due to facing this guy, the Waffler, Tim Wakefield with his knuckleball. And the Twins getting tamed. Get over there. Perfect pitch from Vaughn to Wakefield. A no-hitter through 5. He walked Rich Becker in the 6th. A tough bounce off the mound. That's the way no-hitters are broken up. But Ballantyne turns 2. No-hitter through 6. Wakefield did this once before against the A's. Took a no-hitter into the 8th. First batter into the 8th. Right up the box, no doubt about it. And Jeff Rebele breaks up history. But Wakefield shuts down the Twins on a 4-hitter as he goes 9, walked 4, allowed just 4 hits. His ERA continues to lead the league at 161. O'Leary hit his 7th home run and knocked in 3. His batting average is 345. One of the things that Wakefield does best is toughen up when he's threatened. 252, a batting average against, it's pretty good. But if he should happen to put someone on, it drops nearly 100 points. He's almost unhittable once you get them into scoring position. At Comiskey, Erickson's debut as an Oriole against Alex Fernandez. Alex facing former White Sox Harold Baines. And Baines, who has his number retired at Comiskey, bops a 3-run shot. A tough first inning for Fernandez. None in the second, 4-0. Brady Anderson against Fernandez. He drives one. Davey Martinez takes away the hit. To the 3rd, the Orioles have built a 5-0 lead. Fernandez tries to sneak some fastball on the outside corner. Jeffrey Hammonds gets it past Guillen. Ripken's in. Harold Baines walks in standing up. Houston is meat, but the Orioles have a huge lead. Erickson likes the pad. Nasty pitch, just Durham way late on that. Also broke away from Frank Thomas. Erickson's only strikeouts in the game, but a nifty performance in his Oriole debut as they hammer Chicago 11-2. He goes 6, gives up 7 hits, strikes out a couple, and allows just 2 earned runs. Barbary had 3 hits. Baines' home run was his 10th. Ripken had a couple of hits. And Roy, did you notice anything that distinguished a former Twin in his first start as an Oriole?
Basically, Gary, Scott Erickson was throwing his best pitch for strikes. Scott Erickson has one of the hardest, nastiest sinkers there is maybe in baseball. But too often he throws it below the zone, and the hitters lay off of it. Today,